A very good evening to you and welcome along to TalkSport 2 this Saturday evening. I'm Andrew McKenna and I'll be guiding you through this evening's live cricket as the West Indies take on England in the fourth match of their T20 series in Barbados. England 2-1 down with 2 to play and without their captain due to injury. However, the depth of their squad continues to impress. Yes, they lost on Wednesday, but they fielded 3 debutants and in Phil Salt, they have someone who could well be in and around this squad for a while after his sensational 57 from just 24 balls. It's do or die tonight. Will the series be level or done and dusted come midnight? You'll find out here on TalkSport 2. Yeah, very good evening to you. Welcome along. Game number 4 of this series. We will be underway in just over half an hour's time. Kensington Oval is bathed in sunshine once again. It's going to be another belting game of cricket, and it's a game of cricket that England need to win because they are 2-1 down, as I mentioned, as a result of that defeat on Wednesday evening. We are close in to the toss. The players and assembled dignitaries are gathering around the edge of the playing surface, and of course we know that it is Owen Ali once again going to be in charge with Owen Morgan. He picked up a thigh problem in the warm-up ahead of Wednesday's game. He missed out on that. We've had it confirmed now that rather than risk him, he will sit out these last 2 games. So Owen Ali will be in charge for the next couple of games. So we wait and see for the toss and the confirmation of the team news. Of course, England ended up, they were going to make 4 changes to the team. They ended up making 5 with the Owen Morgan injury. We will find out very shortly indeed what the team news is today, because I can see Owen Ali, Kieran Pollard and Richie Richardson out in the middle, along with Mark Butcher for the toss.
With me, match referee Kieran Pollard and Owen Ali, captain of England. Kieran, give the coin a flick for me, please. What was the call? Bit of exercise for Richie. West Indies have won the toss. Mention it's a big toss. Kieran, careful. What are you going to do?
Yeah, we're going to field first.
Field first. And what do you make of the surface? It was the one that you guys narrowly failed to chase down 170 at the weekend.
Yeah, it looks a good track. Obviously, we don't know what's going to offer. Normally, you try to see what's going to happen first with the dimensions of the ground, with the breeze. Batting first here, a strong breeze. So we can try to use that as well. So let's see what happens.
That certainly worked well for you on Wednesday. Any changes to your team?
Yeah, 2 changes for us. Shai Hope misses out. Kyle Mayers gets an opportunity, and Fabian Allen misses out, and Dominic Drakes, gets another opportunity as well.
Obviously, a big opportunity here to turn over the #1 ranked side in the world. That'd be a terrific way to start the rebuilding process as we got forward to the Australia T20 World Cup.
Yeah, of course. Obviously, we had a big squad here, but it's not a matter of just chopping and changing for changing's sake. Myers getting an opportunity at top of the order. He's an aggressive batter, so let's see if he can take that initiative. Once he gets in, and young Drakes, using his height, his bounce. He's a local lad. Knows the conditions here pretty well as well. So what a game to come in and try to use what he knows, and I'm sure that the team will be backing him 100%.
Okay, Karen, thanks for speaking with us. Moeen, going to have to chase. It's not been straightforward setting totals here, but they've actually won the game more often than not batting first.
Yeah, and it was actually a toss where I wasn't too fussed about losing, because batting first here, we batted well. Played well. We got a good score here last time, and it did spin later on. So yeah, we're pretty confident still, and hopefully get a good score on the board.
Okay, 5 changes on Wednesday. What's your team tonight?
2 changes today. Sam Billings comes in, and it's Chris Jordan coming for George Garton and Harry Brook. Okay, right. So 2 changes. Jordan back. I mean, that looks like what you would say would be your strongest bowling lineup, perhaps. Yeah, I think so. I think CJ brings a lot of experience, and probably our best death bowler as well over a long period of time now. So hopefully we can use that today and bowl well. Yeah,
it's been tough. It's been a hell of a series. West Indies always seem to raise their game when England come out. You found that, haven't you?
They always do, and most of the teams do, to be honest with you, and they've played really well so far, and we've played well in bits as well, but it is a big game today, and if we win this, then hopefully a great game tomorrow.
Okay, right, great stuff. Thanks for speaking with us. Very good luck to you. So the news from the middle out here is that the West Indies have won the toss and are going to have a bowl.
Thank you, Butch. So there we go. We have the details. West Indies win the toss and bowl. Both teams make 2 changes. For England, Sam Billings and Chris Jordan are back in for Harry Brook and George Garton. And the West Indies make 2 changes. Shea Hope and Fabian Allen miss out. Carl Mayers and Dominic Drake's coming into the side. Delighted to say that we've also made a change in the commentary for today. Gareth Batty is out. Okay, he's got probably more important things to be worrying about at the moment after it was confirmed that he is now finally the interim head coach at Surrey, which means that Jared Kimber can stop trying to ask him the questions throughout the interviews all evening. So Gareth is on duty there. So delighted to say we're bringing back Jade Dernbach, who was with us for the Ireland series. And of course, 40 T20 internationals for England as well. Jade, welcome along.
Thank you very much for having me.
Looking forward to this one. Looks a good one, doesn't it?
It is. If the previous game's anything to go by, we're going to be in for a real treat. Massive game for England, obviously having to bounce back from that loss and obviously to keep the series alive.
Looking at the England team, as Mark Butcher just said with Moeen Ali, with no disrespect to Harry Brook or George Garton, who look really good players for the future, Billings and Jordan coming back in, this is not a million miles off England's first choice team with the squad that they have available. And look, it's obvious that because they've got to win, they would go that way.
Yeah, it makes sense. Bringing that extra bit of experience, as you've pointed out. We've struggled a little bit with the ball, haven't we, in terms of finishing off the game potentially. Jordan comes in, he is our go-to death bowler at the moment, and obviously Billings coming in with his experience, having played all over the world, probably had a lot of experience playing in the West Indies. So bringing them 2 guys back in to give ourselves the best chance, because as we say, without a win tonight, the series is gone.
So that's the England team news. Barry Wilkinson, of course, our West Indian commentator. Let's turn to him now as we turn to the West Indian team news. No Shea Hope and no Fabian Allen. Barry, what do you make of that?
A bit surprised by the Fabian Allen exclusion. I was out there. He is bowling. He's training, so I don't think he's injured. I just suspect that they might be trying to see how many players they can get into the team, look ahead to the squad. They're going to India next month. So perhaps it's just a case of rotation, because he's certainly not injured and he hasn't underperformed per se. He's actually picked up early wickets. Where Shea Hope is concerned, there's always a toss-up with Shea Hope in T20 cricket, because it's heavily believed that he's more suited for the longer form of the game, Test, and he's done really well in the 50-over version. It's always going to be hard to get Shea Hope in your team, especially if Evan Lewis is ever available. So Carl Mayers, who's very aggressive, Carl Mayers, who's done really well last year, he got a double 100 in his debut Test against Bangladesh. He's someone who can shake it up a little bit, and I think that might be the thought process, have a left-hander with a right-hander opening to see how he goes, instead of Shea, who has been a bit slow at the top.
Barry, while we're talking team news, we need to sort of just get into this story that's appeared since Wednesday's 3rd game. Now, this is a report that's appeared claiming that Odean Smith has been victimised. He was left out, as I mentioned, for Wednesday. He bowled only 1 over in the first match, didn't bowl in the second, and Rovman Powell came in for him in the 3rd match and made 107, of course, as they won the match. Now, it's emerged that apparently a voice note has been sent to certain members of the media after the 3rd game. It's not been revealed yet who sent it, but the Trinidad and Tobago Newsday said that it was a regional cricket commentator, and also said that the West Indies Player Association was very upset over the treatment of Smith. Now, obviously, Phil Simmons, the coach, held a press conference to preview this game yesterday, and he completely dismissed that all up. I'll give you his quote. "For me, that can't happen when I'm here. You don't victimise anyone. You don't try and pull down anyone. You try and make players a better person, first of all, and a better cricketer afterwards. Let me explain something to you, and I'm saying it again. We need to stop this foolishness that we're going on with. We sit down and we look at the best team for the day. And if Odean wasn't in the best team for the day, it is because we thought Rovman was better suited." By the way, as a note to that, Odean has this evening been named in the T20 squad that will go to India for the 3 T20s that follow the one-day international series. So what do you make of all of that, Barry? And what's been the sort of the reaction to it all in the last 24 hours?
Well, on Thursday, well-known cricket commentator Andrew Mason actually did a report on national radio stating that there was some form of victimization and stating that there was indeed some unrest in the West Indies team and that some members of the team had complained to WIPA, which is the West Indies Players Association, about it. That radio report turned into the voice note that you're talking about, and the voice note went viral throughout the entire region. Of course, in Barbados, radio here is only heard in this region, in this jurisdiction. So the voice note then was the one that went viral. So that went to Trinidad and Tobago, that went to Grenada, that went to St. Lucia, that went to Guyana, that went to Jamaica, that went everywhere. And everyone heard it, and the players did hear it themselves. And WIPA were pressing for a meeting, but the meeting was then postponed because I think it was said it's best not to have a meeting when the series is about to be wrapped up. So I suspect that meeting will happen sometime on Monday. It is absolutely unclear if the players that are making those complaints are indeed Odean Smith and some others. In terms of who they are, I'm not quite sure. But the mere fact that WIPA want to have a meeting regarding something of the sort, it tells me that there is perhaps some truth to what Andrew Mason would have reported. So we're waiting to see if that has any impact in how the West Indies team play. Now, what I can tell you and what I can confirm, when we were out in the middle, I as usual, I gave some pleasantries to Phil Simmons, and he didn't seem quite happy to have a chat with me. I can tell you that. So there seems to be some kind of friction. I don't know if it has got around that the regional media are causing trouble, or if the regional media think that there's some unrest. I'm not quite sure what is the problem, but I was assured by the media manager that everything is fine and that the team is just better than ever. So let's wait to see what happens. Let's wait to see how it boils down. But I find it strange that you have Odean Smith, who bowled 1 over on Saturday, Odean Smith, who bowled no overs on Sunday, and then Odean Smith dropped on Wednesday. That, to me, is a bit strange. So we'll have to wait to see what the actual facts of the matter that come out of the meeting with WIPA on Monday.
Barry, thank you very much. And of course, as part of the TalkSport 2 team, we have our own Jared Kimber, who has worked with Odean Smith when you were with St. Lucia. So what do you...
Four just looks normal. From the outside, this does look like utter nonsense. I'm not saying there isn't a player complaining on the inside. Knowing Odean a little bit, he doesn't seem like a player who would usually complain about those sorts of things. I think he usually gets his head down and does his work. So I don't know if it's him or someone else. But I always thought him and Corin Pollard had a fairly good relationship. And I should state, Corin Pollard doesn't have a great relationship with everyone. Corin Pollard, and I think Barry will probably back me up on this, finds it very hard to trust players he hasn't seen consistently perform. And usually that means players he's seen on the franchise circuit or from Trinidad. Outside of those, he struggles a little bit. So I can see how some of these things might happen. But for me, Rodman Power can bat at number 4 and Odean Smith can't bat at number 4. So that looks like the difference. And when Rodman came in, he said he was told specifically they were trying to put a gap between Nicholas Pooran and Darren Bravo because they're both left-handers. They wanted someone who could bat up the order. Odean Smith is never going to be that kind of player unless he does it as pinch hitter or in an Andre Russell way. So from the outside, this looks like nonsense. That doesn't mean that there hasn't been a complaint made.
From a cricketing logic sense point of view, the West Indies looked a better side because they had a guy who could bat at number 4 and do what Rodman Powell did. That's what we're saying, isn't it?
Definitely. And look, I think it's more interesting that Drake's has come in instead of Odean for this particular game. I find that far more interesting than I did the change in the last game. I had no problems with that change at all. And I don't think Odean can get through that many overs on these kinds of surfaces. There are certain pitches, he might be really handy in Australia when he's bowling at 90, 95 miles an hour. These pitches, they want cutter bowlers. He doesn't even have a slow ball, right? And they brought in Rodman Powell, who can bowl cross seamers and little cutters. So I just thought it made sense from a tactical point.
So there you go. That is the headline news coming out of the West Indies for the last couple of days, and also the headline news coming out from the last 10 minutes or so. The West Indies have won the toss. They've elected to field. Moeen Ali said he wasn't too bothered about losing the toss because he was quite happy going either way. England have made 2 changes. Billings and Jordan are in for Brook and Garton. It's 2 changes for the West Indies as well. Hope and Allen are out with Kyle Mayers and Dominic Drake breaks coming into the side. It is TalkSport 2. We are 12 minutes away from the first ball in this fourth match of the 5-match series between the West Indies and England. West Indies have won the toss. They've elected to field. England, therefore, batting first. Moeen Ali was the man once again out in the middle, with Owen Morgan ruled out due to his thigh problem. And interesting today in the Daily Telegraph in the UK, Shield Berry, their veteran cricket writer, the chief cricket writer is his official title, wrote an article today under the headline, "Time has come for Morgan to quit white ball teams." The story starts, "Sorry Owen, it's time to retire as England's white ball captain. It'll be on a high as England won Morgan's last game in charge, albeit by 1 run, before he was ruled out of this 5-match series against the West Indies." Now, we actually got Gary Morgan, our statsman, to do some digging around for us regarding Owen Morgan's numbers. And in international cricket, his last 50 was against Pakistan in Manchester in August 2020. This is in T20 internationals. Since then, he's played 24 games. He's had 18 innings with a best score of 40. That came against Sri Lanka in Sharjah on the 1st of November. That is his only score of more than 30. If we actually take all T20 cricket since that score, he's had 68 matches, of which he's batted 60 times, 12 of those not outs, with 150. That was for the Kolkata Knight Riders against Rajasthan in November of 2020. He's averaged 22.4, and the strike rate is only 124.7. If you actually split up the competitions during that period, 4 innings in the World T20, a best score of 40, 30 innings in the IPL, best score of 68 not out, in the 100, 7 innings, best of 41, and 5 innings in the Vitality Blast, best of 38. Jay Dernbach, the Owen Morgan question. Is Owen Morgan still worth a place in the England side? Is he just going through a slump? Are we judging him too harshly? Where do you stand?
It's certainly a topic of conversation in the sense of the numbers we've been presented with Morgan of late. You would say he doesn't warrant his place in the side. He is obviously an exceptional captain, has taken our white ball cricket to levels we've never seen before, winning a World Cup. He is a fantastic player. We do understand he goes through these patches of being out of form and can look horribly out of form at times. But again, the guys like Phil Salt sat behind him, Harry Brook, these young kids who are coming through, who are playing well, who are striking at 140, 150, that's the kind of play you need in at 4 and 5 in an order when guys are coming in, especially the explosiveness we have up top. So for me, it's a very big question, one we need answered probably very soon, because we have a World Cup we're trying to prepare for. If it is time for Morgs to step aside, that time's now to get the guys in, to prepare, to get Joss Butler potentially to take over and get his stamp on the side. Yes, Morgs does come out of bad slumps. We've seen it. It happens. But how long do we wait would be the question.
So, Jared Kimber, you are the king of the numbers. I would say one thing that would leap out to me is, I've just said to you there, well, he's only got 150. But realistically, how many times does a number 5 in a T20 game, how many chances are they realistically going to have to score 50? Because if you're in a good side, the guys at the top of the order, so actually maybe we should be looking at 25s and 30s, or should we be actually looking at the key number, which is the one that you pull out so often, which actually is strike rate? Because it doesn't matter if you're only making 10 or 15, it's the rate you get them at.
Yeah, I'm not. In none of my stats do I have 50s as a metric. I don't even look at hundreds. It's just not something that matters to us at all in the analytics movement. What I'll have a look at here, though, Macca, is when you have a bit of a dive into his career. In 2017, he played 36 matches. That's a good year for him. And in that year, he averaged 22 with a strike rate of 118. Now, there was plenty of talk at that stage that he was on his way out, right? In 2019, he averaged 43 and struck at 170. And in 2020, he averaged 38 and struck at 148. And that's internationals and IPL. Those are worldly numbers, right? That's the sort of number you expect David Warner to have. He does this all the time. The big question is, and I think I'm the whole leadership thing, I can take or leave. All right, they will have to get a captain up to snap. I'm not sure that Mo really wants to do the job, and I'm not sure Josh Butler really wants to do the job. Those are the two most likely. Ben Stokes is obviously the other one there. But the real question is he going to be able to find his form enough to be better than anyone else in this side? And you don't even know if he's going to find that form again in time. The World Cup's coming so quickly, right? And he does go through. The last big drought he had in T20 cricket, he didn't average over 25, I think, for 3 years. 2011, 2012, 2013. When he goes through a slump, it's mega. And that's it. Those were his prime years. He's not in his prime anymore, right? You have to know that when this happens, it happens. There's every chance the World Cup comes around, he's still scratching around, and the next 2 years on the circuit, he averages 50 with a strike rate of 150 again. Owen Morgan has that ability, right? But is it going to happen in time? And England needs to make a call on that. Usually you'd say, I remember with MS Dhoni, the big thing with India was, is there a better player to replace him? And until Rishabh Pant came along, there probably wasn't. You look at this team at the moment and you say there probably are players who are better to replace Owen Morgan at the moment. He has this one other weird kink in that he's another left-hander. There's so many left-handers in that middle. It didn't cost them in the World Cup because they ended up with half their squad out. But when Stokes plays and Mo plays and Morgan all in the middle, maybe Sam Curran as well, there's too many left-handers. Teams are just going to play two off-spinners against them. So they might want a right-hander in anyway. So there's so many factors about why you wouldn't want to play him. But the other side of this is that he's been pretty good for England cricket, I think you could say.
And there's the point, isn't it, Jay Dernbach? He's got so much credit in the bank, he's earned to go out on his terms. So if he's, asked the question, do you want to go through to November and the next World T20? And let's remember, because of COVID, we've got 2 World T20s back-to-back years. After this one, there's then a 2-year break. So actually, there is a natural time to restart the cycle. So has Owen Morgan got enough credit in the bank for you to actually be asked the question to say, what do you think? Can you get to this? And are you thinking of knocking it on the head after then? And then we start the progression. Because the other point that Shield makes in the piece is that actually Owen Morgan should then be England's next white ball coach, which is a bit of a leap, but, I mean, look, the man has done so much for England white ball cricket. You can see a logic to his point.
I can certainly see the point. I think the main point is, what does Owen Morgan want to do? I think that is the big factor here. Yes, he has a lot of chips in the bank. It should be his decision when he decides to hang up the boots. And is the best time now, 8 months, 9 months before a T20 World Cup? I'm not sure. Should we keep the stability, have a steady captain? We say form is irrelevant in the sense of we've got such a good long batting lineup. We can mix and match people around. If the top order fires, he'll probably slide down the order anyway. Take pressure off of him. Then if we do happen to have a game where he has more time to set himself in, maybe he jumps out that form that Jared is talking about and has one of those outstanding periods, hopefully during a World Cup, and we win a World Cup.
Just one thing that I want to add on all this. If England had a full-strength squad, I mean, Australia won that World Cup accidentally. Essentially.
Does that mean we can have the trophy back?
I mean, New Zealand and Australia making that final when England and Pakistan were by far the best 2 teams. And then that happens in T20, right? Those things happen. But if England have a full squad, Owen Morgan, we might be having this conversation on the back of Owen Morgan having won another bit of silverware for England. Would it even be, would Shield even be starting his column as punchy as he has? Probably not, right? And I think, there's a lot of randomness in T20 cricket. And if you're going to do it, I think this is probably the best time because you want the next captain to be in for 8 months, right? You want them to be planning ahead. You want them to put a stamp on their team. But it has to be right now. If not, if they dilly-dally at all, then I'm sorry, he has to stay.
Well, there you go. We'll find out in the coming weeks and months what England's plans are. For what it's worth, you want my opinion? I think Owen Morgan stays and he does the next World T20. I wouldn't go changing anything now. And as Jade says, he's got so many chips in the bank at the moment. Frankly, he's earned that and he's deserved it. So let's stay with it. He's not involved today or tomorrow, though, because of this quad injury. So Moeen Ali leads England once again. Jason Roy, Tom Banton, James Vince, Moeen Ali, Liam Livingston, Sam Billings, Phil Salt, Chris Jordan, Adil Rashid, Tamar Mills and Reece Topley. Looks a pretty good 11, that, doesn't it? Bearing in mind who's not even in the Caribbean for England at the moment. You would take that as a team. They're taking on Kyle Mayers, change at the top of the order, with Shai Hope missing out. Brandon King opens alongside him. With Shai Hope missing out, it means that Nicholas Pooran is keeping wicket. Darren Bravo, Rovman Powell, Karen Pollard, Jason Holder, Dominic Drake, Romario Shepherd, Akil Hussain and Sheldon Cottrell are the 11s. The two teams and backroom staffs are taking a knee as the anti-racism statement. Getting a good round of applause from the people in the stands, and the umpires take their places. Leslie Reefer and Patrick Gustard are on duty for this one, with Gregory Brathwaite watching the replays. So, we're about to get underway. Jason Roy opening up with Tom Banton. It will be Sheldon Cottrell once again with the first over with his left arm seamers. Sheldon Cottrell bowling from the 3Ws end. Jason Roy, 6 in game 1, 45 in game 2, 19 in game 3 for Tom Banton, 4, 25 and that's 73 the other evening. We are ready to go. Jason Roy's just clearing some dust away from the foot area using his glove, and he's ready, and Sheldon Cottrell is on his way, coming into bowl, and again a little bit of shape back into Jason Roy. Jason Holder will field at shortish mid-wicket, and there is no run, but Jay Durmack straight away, little bit of shape, natural shape back in towards the right-hander. There is,
at the Kensington Oval, there is a predominant wind which sweeps across the ground, and this will be helping Sheldon Cottrell as he'll be coming over his left shoulder, so perfect for that left arm swing. Certainly to Jason Roy, you want to be tucking him up early and bringing that ball back in, so perfect matchup for them.
Cottrell on his way from the crease. It's Jason Roy just opening the face, trying to drop it down into the gully, take a single, but there's nothing there, and it's 0 for 0 after 2 balls here on TalkSport 2.
Also, we're saying that West Indies have their longest bowling lineup in this, because Kyle Mayers was a bowler almost up until the point he made 200 in his Test debut. He was a bowler. He had I think about a year and a half. He'd really worked on his batting, but he was always thought to be a bowler. He's bowled really well in Test cricket, left arm seam, so he actually gives them 2 left arm options if they need them, Macca.
In goes Cottrell. Jason Roy's gone across his stumps. Big shot for LBW. That looks stone dead in real time. Now there is a DRS review available, and I would be very surprised.
I like passing.
You can hear the cry from Nicholas Poran. He likes it, and they are going to review it. Patrick Gustard has given it not out first up. This is going to Gregory Brathwaite.
Review for LBW.
Jay Dernbach, I've got to say with the naked eye.
I've never seen an umpire's hand move more without actually lifting his finger up.
Such a quiver, wasn't it? He was literally shaking.
Fair delivery confirmed on
that
front
looked pretty good, to be fair. Jason stepped across his stumps there, trying to work it to the leg side.
Here we go then. Oh, has it pitched outside leg stump? It goes and then clips him on the thigh pad rather than the front pad, and it might be missing leg as well. I'd like to see where that pitch. They're now going for ultra edge. He's not hit it.
Yeah, I'm satisfied there's no bat involved. Can we move on to ball tracking when ready?
This is going to be the key. It's pitched in line.
It's pitching in line. Impacts in line. Wickets missing.
Well, it said it's going directly above leg stump.
Let you know when you're on screen. Stay with your original.
I'm going to be honest with you, Jade Dernbach. Of all the options for that to be not out, missing leg stump for height wasn't even on my list.
To be honest, the only thing I think we probably not really considered is maybe Jason's taken a couple of steps down the track. We didn't get a side-on view. That can be the only thing that saved him there, but certainly wasn't expecting it to bounce over that much.
Well, that's one of the West Indies reviews gone. They've got 2. Cool, I'll tell you what, that was a good review. Here comes Sheldon Cottrell, outside of off-stump. Jason Roy leans into a cover drive, beats the man at mid-off for the first attempt. Oh, brilliantly pulled back. Brilliantly pulled in by Mayers it is. And it will be 3 to get England off the mark with a lovely cover drive.
That's a beautiful shot from Jason there. Sheldon Cottrell looking for some swing, which he found in the first couple of deliveries, but as we know with this white ball of late, it doesn't seem to swing for too long. But that's an outstanding bit of fielding there by Mayers, bringing in the ball there, save a couple of runs. But yeah, great shot. Hopefully the ball stops swinging now.
Pulled in indeed. Well, good job by the West Indian fielder. Well, it might be Brandon King actually, my apologies. They're having a close look at this one, because I was about to say that he got close to flicking it back onto his chest, but missed it. Well, they're happy. It is 3, and Tom Banton is taking guard. What an innings he played the other night. England would like a little bit more of that. He settles in. You can hear how hard the pitch is from the way he's tapping his bat. Here comes Cottrell. Round about middle and leg, straightening again from the left arm over, and Banton plays it to mid-on, and there is no run.
Yeah, it'd be great to see some more of that form that Banton showed the other night. Some real clean striking. Some of the striking we're used to seeing in the Blast, and it's so great to see him bring that form now in an England shirt. Certainly has got an opportunity here in the West Indies, and in another big game here to try and get us over the line.
Final ball of the first over then. In comes Cottrell. Bit of width, big edge from Banton. He's had a big old cut at that. Poran, well, was a spectator really. It was a big old chunky edge. It flies down to fine third man. And the end of the first over here on TalkSport 2. England 7 without loss. Jason Roy's got 3. Tom Banton has 4. By the way, if you wanted to get involved with that discussion we were having about Owen Morgan, do by all means send us a tweet at TalkSport2, and we'll bring some of those out. Would you keep Owen Morgan in, and for how long would you keep him in? Has he got enough credit in the bank to go all the way through to the World T20? Any thoughts on that at TalkSport2, and we'll bring you those throughout the evening. But well, it was a decent first over that, Jay. There's a bit of something in that for everyone, wasn't there?
Yeah, there was indeed. We did see a bit of swing first couple of deliveries. Interesting to note there, the swing seemed to come when the ball was pitched in line with the stumps. Last couple of deliveries there just outside the off stump and no swing. So yeah, Banton's thrown the kitchen sink at that ball just outside the off stump and it's flown away for 4. No real chance there for Puran.
Well, interestingly, slip's gone in place for Jason Holder to start the second over. I believe that horses and stable doors spring to mind. But there you go. Right, Jason Holder, 4 for 7 earlier in the series. He's on his way to Jason Roy. Jason Roy jumping in behind that one, plays it back down the pitch to Holder, and there is no run.
I know it's quite early on in the innings, but it looks a very good pitch. Looks like the bounce is pretty true. Hopefully we can post a big score here. Jason Roy will be looking for a big score. Obviously with Banton putting the runs on the board the other night, he'll feel it might be his time to shine.
Well, slip lasted all of 1 ball. Slip is now out and to mid-wicket. Here comes Jason Holder, right arm over. Oh, play and a miss! Jason Roy almost walked through that one. It's through to Puran, and Jason Roy walks down the pitch towards Tom Banton, shaking his head.
Looks like he kind of lost that in the flight. As we know, Jason Holder's a very tall man, and the side screens actually at the Kensington Oval are quite interesting. They don't go up particularly high, and it's just a painted building on top, so you can understand he might have just lost it, Jason Holder being such a tall man, but he's actually done him on the inside edge there, which is interesting to know.
It was a little away shaper and beat him on the inside edge, which shouldn't really be possible. Here comes Holder again. Again he's pitched up and Jason Roy's pushed it back, and Jason Holder can't grab the rebound catch. Threw out his right hand, has pushed it round the post for a corner kick, but unfortunately those big old mitts, the fingers weren't able to close around the ball, but that was just a push back from Jason Roy to a pretty regulation outswinger, Jay Dernbach.
Yeah, quite interesting. Jason seems to have played the last couple of deliveries on the move, not really getting into the ball, which is why it's probably popped up there. Jason Holder with a bit of extra bounce. Would have been a beautiful return catch there. He's, like you say, chucked the right mitt at it. It's not stuck. A let off for Jason. Hopefully he can capitalise now.
Slip's gone back in. Holder is in. Jason Roy playing on the onside. Closes the face, puts it to mid-on, and they will take a single. Roy goes to 4. Banton has 4. He'll be on strike with England 8 without loss here on TalkSport 2.
Very interesting. He's put the slip in and dragged his length back and bowled a back of a length ball, when the previous deliveries, which have caused Jason Roy some problems, were nicely pitched up in line with the stump. So some interesting tactics today, and as we say, Jason Roy's just got away with one there. Hopefully now he can push on, get the pace of the wicket. It looks a good surface, but maybe it's just holding it a tiny bit.
Just heard Tom Banton taking leg stump guard to Jason Holder. Here comes Holder, who's in. Banton just trying to guide it past the short third man for a single. Not able to on this occasion. And he is now faced 3 balls for his 4 runs. Jared Kimber.
Worth noting that that was an incredibly straight guard that he took. I don't know if you saw that. That line was immaculate. There's no muck around. There's a lot of pressure on. We don't talk about this enough. Opening batters have a lot of pressure on them to get that line right. I was terrible at it. Most of the guys I batted with were hoping I wasn't facing out. When I went out to open the batting. That was pitch. Jonathan Trott would be so happy with that.
Final ball of the second over. In comes Jason Holt. Tom Banton's come down the pitch, hit high on the splice and lobs to mid-on, and Mayers takes the catch, and the West Indies have their breakthrough. 2 overs of the England innings are gone. Banton is caught for 4, and England are 8 for 1.
Yeah, disappointing there for Tom Banton. He's looked to take the attack there to Jason Holder, but being such a tall man coming down the wicket, it's just caught him on the splice of the bat. Bit of extra bounce there probably has been the undoing for Tom Banton. But you've got to say it's a good positive start, trying to take the game to the West Indies here. That's what he's in the side for. Tom Banton gone for 4 of 4 deliveries there.
Well, that is the thing about this England side, whether Owen Morgan is in the side or not. This is the way they are set up. You are there to do a job, and you do it. If it doesn't work, so be it. You come back and have a go the next day.
I think that's been the beauty of the white ball squad. Everybody has their own particular roles that they've got to play. Owen Morgan has given them the freedom to be able to go out there and express themselves. Having spoken to a lot of the guys, that's what gives them the sense of freedom to be able to go out and play the way that they naturally play. There's no point in them being in the side otherwise if they're not going to bring their own natural ability to it. And as we see James Vince striding out to the middle, another very elegant player, class player for a long time now. Just want to see him turn those starts that he's had in an England shirt into something big.
Absolutely. England's average power play, by the way, in this series, 42 for 2. The power play, the first 6 overs. In comparison, the West Indies, 41 for 1. So there's not a great deal in it at all. Because that was the last ball of the over. Roy will be on strike to Cottrell, and he starts with a glorious cover drive. Lovely, lovely shot. That's almost identical to the one he played in the first over of the innings, and it's the same result. It goes away for 4. England 12 for 1.
In the same instance there, like you say, Sheldon Cottrell's in the side to get the ball up and swing it early for the West Indies. Unfortunately, the ball doesn't seem to be swinging right now, so a nice delivery just outside the off stump. Jason Roy has climbed all over that and has produced a beautiful cover drive all the way for 4.
Roy, 8 from 9. Cottrell, how will he respond? Left arm over the wicket. That's full. That's swinging back in towards off stump. Jason Roy digs that up, and it's down to King at mid off, and there is no run.
It's interesting to note there. I mean, I just said a couple of balls ago that I didn't think the ball was swinging, but he's given that every chance, obviously with a Yorker. But there was a tiny bit of late swing there, which makes it a little bit more difficult for the batters to try and judge what's going on. Maybe the wind is a factor over there at the Kensington Oval.
Cottrell in, holds that one back a little bit, pushed into the offside. Jason Holder fields from Jason Roy, and there's no run. Jared.
Yeah, just one thing I want to note. In the early days of the Blast, there were one of the earliest sort of Moneyball theories was that you got tall bowlers to bowl up front, because essentially when you try and play across the line, you have a big chance of hitting it straight up in the air, and then later on you wanted your little guys to come in, and because of the geometry of it, you wanted the Yorkers to go in, and a short guy's more likely to hit a Yorker than a tall player is. Teams don't do it as much anymore, and Jason Holder hasn't bowled as much in the power play.
Cottrell goes in. Jason Roy is taking this one from round about middle and off, put into Pollard at long on, and takes a single 13 for 1.
Holder hasn't bowled as much in the power play as you would think someone like him would have. And part of the reason was, for years, his bowling was quite one-dimensional until it was about 3 or 4 years ago, he suddenly went from one of the worst bowlers in the world to one of the best within a space of about 6 months. You could see, though, because he is so hard to use a cross-bat shot too, it's a huge advantage to have that high release point, because if you are playing that shot, it's a bit like the LBW we saw from Sheldon Cottrell. The rest of the innings, that's out because it's not bouncing over the top of the stumps. But at this point, when the ball's harder, that's the best chance to get someone to mishit something across the line. And I think Jason Holder, it'd be interesting to see if West Indies keep going with him, being that the World Cup is going to be in Australia. He could be quite handy there. He doesn't even have to bowl that short in Australia, just hit a length.
James Vince to face his first ball from Sheldon Cottrell. Chases a wide one. Misses, and it goes through to Nicholas Pooran, and there is no run. James Vince, 14 in the first game, 4 in the second, and 16 in the third. 16, believe it or not, is actually the highest score that James Vince has made against the West Indies. So he would like a score in this one, Jade Dernbach.
I think he certainly would. As we've mentioned, he's a beautiful player on the eye to watch. He's just got a couple of starts and hasn't quite gone on. I mean, unfortunately, the other day I saw him hit a drag down straight to extra cover. When things are not going your way, those things go that way. So hopefully today is his day and he can make a start here and kick on and get us to a decent total.
Final ball of the third, edged, and it doesn't carry. It must have been a cutter from Cotterill, as it's been edged, genuine edge, and then bounced 2 yards short of Nicholas Pooran. Nicholas Pooran virtually fell over as he just couldn't get his hands and his feet to work properly, but he's able to gather it in the end. Well, that's 3 overs gone here on TalkSport 2. England 13 for 1.
Interesting to note there, a little bit of grip there as he's rolled his fingers down the side there for a slower ball, which was the undoing for James Vince. I think we heard Mo and Ali at the toss say he wasn't too worried what happened with the toss because he thought that there might be spin being a factor later on in the game, and if that's anything to go by, I think there might be a bit of spin to be had.
Here comes Holder then to Jason Roy. Oh, hit on the pad, angling down leg side, you would suggest. Umpire Gustard has nothing to do with that one, and West Indies aren't interested in reviewing it. 13 for 1 it remains.
Just looking a little bit edgy at the moment, J. Roy. I think he just needs to settle here. Know that he's the opener. If he bats 20 overs, any score is possible, and I think that's the one thing you always want to remind Jason of. If you bat 20 overs, we will get anything we want to.
Holder in. Oh, it's a full toss. Could well be a no ball actually, because that could be a full toss over waist high. It's been hit out to the square leg sweeper, which is Rovman Powell, and well, they're saying only 2 at the moment. That possibly is due to Jason Roy actually taking a little bit of a shimmy down the pitch, but I've just seen a close-up of Jason Roy's face, and I don't think Jason Roy is quite as convinced as maybe the umpire is, because that still looked quite high when it got to Jason Roy.
That's certainly the last ball you're expecting, I'm guessing, as you're using your feet as an opening batter coming down the track to a 6-foot plenty bowler. You don't think a full toss at your hips coming.
It's another full toss. This, though, is an attempted slower ball. It's the slower ball Yorker that's actually floated up there by Jason Holder. That one, 101 kilometres an hour. So that is basically a 30 kilometre an hour drop. Jason Roy adjusted, plays it back down the pitch, and there's no run.
Looked like a bit of a knuckleball. I've certainly seen from Jason Holder this series, and even the previous series to this, he is certainly developing his game in terms of his slower balls and adding to his vocab. I think the IPL's probably had a point to play with that, having played in those conditions.
Holder in. Down leg side for this one, and again it's full and in at Jason Roy's feet, and he gets himself in a bit of a tangle and ends up almost playing the shot between his own feet on the full toss. It squirts out on the leg side, and there is no run.
And that's often the great thing we see with players, certainly when they go across to these franchise competitions, that they're going across and spending time with some of the better bowlers around the world and learn some new skills and new tricks that they can bring onto the international stage.
In goes Holder again. It's a cutter, and again Jason Roy plays and misses. You might have just caught what Jason Roy thought of that, as it takes him on the inside thigh. Apologies if anyone's offended by that one. I think Jason Roy is more offended than anyone else at the moment, as it remains 15 for 1.
I was going to say that myself. With Jason Holder and the slow balls, so up until the last IPL, he had one of the lowest percentages of slow balls used anywhere in the world. In this series, we've seen the back of the hand slow balls, which is it's about 10k slower than yours, Jake. It's not a particularly quick one, but he's been bowling a lot of cutters. He's been trying a lot of different things.
Holder to finish the over. Goes in, takes Jason Roy on the pad again, and that might just be a little off cutter again as it was heading down leg side. Oh, the throw back into Pooran's not the best. Jason Roy thought about an overthrow, but there wasn't one there. Yeah, it was another little slower cutter. That was 107 kilometres an hour. Jason Roy's starting to get frustrated, and this is the concern now. 4 overs gone here at TalkSport 2. 15 for 1. Roy's got 11 from 18. Vincent's yet to score from 2. But I've just got a feeling here, Jane Dernbach, that Jason Roy is going to start to bubble. The beans are going to start, and he's just going to try and mow him something in a minute, which might not be the best policy.
No, certainly not. I think, something is certainly building here. And again, going back to our point, where all these players have their own specific roles on the side, Jason Roy's role is to come in and play shots, take the aggressive stance. So that will be playing on his mind, knowing obviously all the other players that are still stuck in the hutch.
Cottrell to start the fifth then. Short and wide, James Vince carves it over backward point, and although point and third man are up inside the circle, he gets up and underneath it and gets underway with a boundary. Vince goes to 4 from 3 balls, England 19 for 1.
Yeah, it's a pretty decent ball you want to get within your first 5 short and wide outside off stump. James Vince will climb into that all day long. Hopefully now that also settles Jason at the other end. Now that he's got a partner who can get a boundary, release the pressure, he doesn't have to feel like he has to go after everything now.
Vince facing Cottrell. Slower ball outside of off stump. Vince did really well to wait a bit more before playing the shot. Carves it into the offside. Will take a single out to the cover sweeper. It's 20 for 1.
We could be seeing this pitch actually just losing a little bit of pace a lot earlier than we thought. So it might not be the worst toss to lose in the end, with our spinner Adil Rashid looking to become the leading wicket taker for us in T20s. I think he's 3 wickets away, so they could play into his hands with a bit of Mo and Ali as well.
It is the same pitch as last Sunday's second game, which wasn't the best. Jason Roy on this occasion trying to guide it past backward point, and again can't get it where he wants, and again he is getting very frustrated, shall we say. I'm tempted to actually let Jason Roy commentate at the moment if I shut up, but I've got a horrible feeling that we haven't got the bleep button active at the moment, and therefore we could end up in a world of pain, so I'm not going to do that. But I don't think Jason Roy is quite enjoying batting at the moment. In goes Cottrell. Jason Roy guides this one. He got that one off the middle of the bat, and he's got it wide enough past the point fielder that it will run away for 4. England go to 24 for 1, and Jason Roy has a boundary that gets him hopefully slightly more relaxed, slightly happier about things, and moving in the right direction as he gets his second boundary of his innings.
Knowing Jason as I do, I think it might take a couple more boundaries before he finds himself relaxing. He's one of those guys where it can help his game, but equally, as we've just seen here, sometimes he can get a bit too angry with himself, gets on top of him, tries too many different things.
Outside of off stump, Jason Roy's got underneath this one. Sheldon Cottrell hung it out there. Jason Roy has kind of, chipped it up really, sort of like a lob wedge. Got it over the 30-metre circle, and although there are 5 in the ring on the offside, and one of them being Jason Holder, who's a very, very large man, as I'm sure you know, Jason Roy actually got enough on it to clear all of them and come back for a couple.
So living dangerously might be an understatement here. But this is all action cricket, isn't it? That's what the power play is all about in T20 cricket. We want to see exciting shots played, guys taking risks. It's the best time to bat, isn't it?
Final ball of the first quarter then. Cottrell goes in. Oh, Jason Roy, you little beauty! Well, maybe that's the problem. He's been going through the offside. This one, he's smashed onto the roof of the stand over mid-wicket. That one is probably still travelling down the road. He's got all of that and then some. After 5 overs, England 32 for 1.
Wasn't that standing cricket shot? That's the difference. That's the thing. If, as we mentioned earlier, you stay in there long enough, Jason Roy is such an exceptional player. He will be able to catch up. That one there, interesting to note that he actually stood as still as he probably has done for the last few deliveries. He's been moving around the crease, trying to create something. Those balls, his strike rate probably getting on top of him there, but for the first time he's just stood there, stand and deliver, and wow, what a shot.
What a shot indeed. So the first quarter of the innings is gone. The second quarter to take you through to the halfway mark will be Barry Wilkinson and Steve Harnison.
Well, even though that was a walloping 6, it just seems that the West Indies have managed to keep this scoring in check a little bit. 5 overs, 32 for 1. They haven't really got to the way, England. And, you know, we've seen some boundaries, but I have to tell you that Steve Harmison, it has been a very quiet start, even though that 6 and a couple of boundaries by England.
Yeah, it has, and it's something that Jason Roy needed. He was battling against himself more than I think the West Indian bowlers. A bit of rhythm, I think a bit of touch, solid base. He had all them there on the last ball of the 5th over. That was a huge hit. That was as big as we've seen anything on Wednesday night. That was with the wind to the short boundary, but I think against the wind to the long boundary, I think would have been still the same outcome of 6 runs, and might just ignite Jason Roy to start finding the boundary more frequently.
Well, it's going to be Shepherd, a new bowler. This one is short and pulled down to the mid-wicket boundary, but there's a fielder right there on the boundary waiting for that, and they'll just get 1 run. So Shepherd has come on. They've given Holder a little rest. He didn't bowl too badly for his first 2 overs, just cost 3 runs, and he picked up the lone wicket. But Fitz has a lot to prove here, because he's got good starts every time he's batted, but he just has not gone on. But it's Roy on strike. He's on 23 from 22, 2 4s and 6, but he somehow doesn't look his flow at best, even though he struck those 4s and 6s. This time he is getting this one down to third man, coming off the outside edge of the bat. It's going to go for 4. It wasn't an authentic shot at all. It was actually a bit of a fault shot there, Steve Harmison, but he managed to perhaps guide it, if anything, rather than smashed it and got 4.
Yeah, he was looking to use the pace there. I think he was looking to get that possibly right of the short third man, his right hand, but he's managed to get that between the short third man's left hand and the wicketkeeper, a little under edge of the bat, but 4 anyway. The last 2 balls will give Jason Roy an immense bit of confidence, because a Jason Roy early in his career might have given this away, but more experienced Roy knows he can catch the balls up the longer the game goes on if he's still there.
Shepherd to bowl to Roy again, who's looking to turn the ball in the onside. Comes off the inner portion of his thigh, and there is no run. The Windies, of course, you would have heard, making a couple of changes. England, they've definitely made some. They've brought back Chris Jordan, who hasn't bowled particularly well, but he had 2 useful innings. Your thoughts on him coming back in?
He batted nicely in the 2 games that he's played out of the 3. He's bowling. I think teams have actually been have scored quite fluently off Jordan at the end.
Shepherd in again now and bowls to Roy, who comes down the pitch and tries to wallop it, but doesn't time it at all. It actually goes into the onside and they get 1 run. The pitch, this is the pitch that caused the game to end in a very close fashion. They actually won by 1 run, England, but for some reason today that this pitch doesn't seem to be coming on. Doesn't seem to be float kind of pitch.
No, it seems to be sitting in. It's bouncing, but it's not. I think it's a lot harder than what it was on Sunday, and I think that's largely down to the fact that it's been in the open air over the course of this last week. I think it's a better pitch than it was last Sunday.
Shepherd comes in again and this time bowls to Vince, and Vince is cutting beautifully, as he usually does. He will just get 1 though, because there's a fielder there on the boundary in Dominic Drake's the super boundary, and just 1 to Vince. Do you think Vince is lucky to be in this team still, given the fact they've made a lot of changes, but he's had chances, but he hasn't really made the most of them? What are your thoughts?
No, he's had starts, and he's given them away that in the same manner. Would he have played if Owen Morgan was fit? But would Phil Salt have played the other day if Owen Morgan was fit? So a lot of ifs, buts and maybes.
Shepherd in again and bowls to Roy. Roy's driving in the air, out to long off, over long off. That's 6. Jason Roy, another 6. Very confident this time, and a bit of a nonchalance too about that shot. But I guess that's the confidence he gives when he's really on song. Roy has gone to 34 from 26. It's now 45 for 1 after 6 here on TalkSport 2. Don't forget, you can get into the action at TalkSport 2 on Twitter. We want to hear what you think. Here's Steve Harmison.
Yeah, that's a lot better from Jason Roy. A lot more of a stable base there. Opening up the offside. Last 2 balls of the last 2 overs. Jason Roy's hit maximums to give England, I think, what's been a quite even power play. I think England would have been hoping for maybe 5 or 10 more runs. West Indies possibly 1 more wicket. So I think both sides in the power play will be quietly content that the first passage of the game has gone even Steven. Now it's about kicking on. And if Jason Roy kicks on, well, we all know how destructive he can be. So it's very, very important that James Vince rotates the strike, gets the ball into the gaps, and lets the Surrey opening batsman try and do what he does best.
It's going to be Dominic Drakes this time, new bowler, and bowls this first delivery to Vince, who's driving. Nice stop there at the cover area by Brandon King, but he can't stop the single, and there's just one. It's 46 for 1.
Dominic Drix, got a lovely action. He's got a bit of Pedro Collins in him, Barry. A bit of Pedro Collins, I think, has Dominic Drix. He's played 4 matches. He's only got 2 wickets, averaging 57, economy rate of 10, just over 10. Young man, 23-year-old. Show my age. I played against his dad quite a few times in Vasper. What a lovely fella he is. Excellent bowling coach. Great servant to West Indies cricket. Played a lot of franchise cricket around the world in places like South Africa. Played in England.
Here comes Dominic Drix in again. It bowls to Roy on this occasion, and Roy's driving in the air. This is going to go down to third man. He's timed it well, placed it well. It's gone for 4 more. Roy on the go. He goes to 38 now. And England motor along to 50 for 1. Just a word on Dominic Drix. I was going to tell you that his father just got the big job. He's now the Barbados coach. He's the head coach now for the Barbados team, so he might be coaching his own son.
Fantastic. To be fair, there's a lot of father-son combinations in sport. A lot in football. Can't think of too many in cricket, but that was a win for the bowler. Unfortunately, it's gone for 4, but it was a very good ball.
This delivery is on the line of the off stump. Played it to the onside. This is a chance for a run out. Oh, direct hit at the non-striker's end. They are appealing, and I'm sure they'll go upstairs to check, will they? No, Patrick Gustar seems to be happy with his decision. Akil Hussain, there at the backward point, threw it at the non-striker's end and knocked it down. But no help, says the umpire.
Just about to say that's a poor bit of fielding by Akil Hussain. Then he throws the stumps down. It was poor because he was on his heels. You're in the circle, you're on, trying to save a single, and he was inside, well inside the circle. He wasn't on the edge of it, so he should have stopped the single there.
Here he comes in again and bowls. The delivery outside the line of the all stump, pretty wide, but not called there wide by the umpire. Was that close enough? Because Vince is not happy about that at all.
I think the umpire must be a good friend of young Mr. Drix's dad there, because that was a wide. Sorry, that was a wide. Call it when you see it, and I think this is a wide. He's got away with one here. Just come out of his action a little bit early. I think James Vince is rightly looking at the umpires to say, you should have your arms stretched out there, pal.
No, that was definitely a wide. Here he comes in again and bowls, and this time he's hitting this in the air, out to third man. Chance for a catch, just over the head. Just over the head of Carl Mears. It's gone for 6. Mears was not on the boundary. He was 3/4 way. I think if he was on the boundary at third man, there would have been a chance for a catch, but he ran in a bit too much as well, and it went over his head and it went over for 6.
Yeah, I agree. I think Mears he's caught sleeping, caught flat-footed. Good bowling by Dominic Drix. And if Kyle Mears is on the boundary, he takes one step in and he takes it. Comfortable catch in and around chest height.
Here he comes in again and bowls to Vince. Vince's time is getting a good delivery on the line of the all stump. Looks to run it down to third man. Misses, taken by the keeper. The over end. 7 gone here in Talksport 2. 57 for 1. Roy's got 39 from 28. Vince has got 14 from 10. Steve Harmison, we've seen no Owen Morgan, and his future is now being questioned somewhat. Your thoughts on his future?
I think it's laughable. I really do. I really think it's laughable to think that question the place of one of the best leaders we have ever had. We've got some fine players, don't get me wrong. He needs to score runs, but normally when Owen does get questioned, he tends to deliver. I think it's quite interesting that somebody's decided to question his place when he's injured rather than when he's in the side and he's got no right to reply. I didn't like that, but hey, everybody's got their opinion. I think Owen Morgan, it sounds stupid, but he's one of the best all-rounders we've got, and I say that because his captaincy, his decision-making in tight spots, his bowling changing, his strategy and the way it goes, I think that saves England sometimes 12, 15 runs in the field. So if he gets 30, that's 45. So for me, that's why I see him as one of England's all-rounders, and there shouldn't be any question of his place.
Bowling change is going to be Akil Hussain, the left-arm spinner, replacing Shepherd, who's only bowled that 1 over 13. The left-arm spin comes in. You were surprised by the spin coming on?
No surprise. I think Kieran Pollard's going to have to take pace off it eventually. I was surprised he didn't bowl himself from the medius end media end, because that's where he's bowled all series so far.
Hussein bowls. This delivery is down the leg side, turned into the onside. Hussein was going to field his own bowling. In the end, he left it alone for Rodman Powell to do, and Powell ensured that there was just one. So 58 for one. If they continue at this current rate, they'll get to 158.
I think they'll want around about 170, 175, I think. The surface that they played on last Sunday, I actually think this is a little bit of a better surface, so they'll want a few more runs. We see how powerful and destructive that the West Indian batsmen have been in the last two games, so I'd imagine Moeen Ali will be looking as captain for a total in and around that 175, 185 as par, and if they have a good couple of overs to go that little bit further.
Here comes Hussein now, bowls to Vince. Vince gets a short ball, he's pulling it, getting under edged, not really off the full meat of the bat, but he's just going to get a couple of runs. Could this be Vince's day? 16 from 11 he's got so far. Roy 40 from 30, 60 for 1. Despite that early wicket, England have managed to control the glut perhaps of wickets is what they don't want. Still got Moeen Ali, Liam Livingstone, Sam Billings and Salt, who's played tremendously well after that game on a Wednesday. As Hussein comes in now, bowls to Vince again, and Vince gets delivery down the leg, so they're going to steal a leg by, I reckon, and that's one more, 61 for 1.
Yeah, I look at the way Vince's career's gone. He sometimes flatters to deceive. Looking at Tom Banton in the previous game, he had 2 good starts, possibly telling himself when he got to 20, right, I've got to kick on here. And I think James Vince has got to tell himself again, he's got to go again and kick on from what he's done in the first 3 games.
Hussein bowls to Roy, who's tailing away, showed all of his stumps, but in the end just defensively plays the ball to Kyron Pollard at cover, no run.
Because Vince has had a couple of starts, and that's the disappointing thing. That's what will disappoint him. He knows he's played far too much cricket to know, not to know himself, that when he gets them starts, he's got to kick on, he's got to deliver for his team and not leave it to somebody else.
Hussein in again and bowls to Vince. This one is short and Vince is cutting. Actually, Roy is going to go down to the boundary. It's gone for 4. It was delivery that he was looking to pull, but in the end, I don't think he timed it well. However, it was good enough to get to the boundary there for Roy. The over ends 65 now for 1. 8 overs gone. Roy 44, Vince 17.
Beautiful shot from Jason Roy. That's Jason Roy, the hands of Jason Roy. Got himself in a position he leans forward as though he looked as though he was going to come out of his crease. I think Akil Hussain has seen that, just dragged it down a little bit. Cramped Jason for room, but because his hands are so good and so quick, he's managed to get it through backward point and get to the boundary in 4 runs. And this is what we're used to seeing of Jason Roy. Yes, he was scratchy around his first 10, 12 balls, but the experience he has now knows that the longer he's there, the more he catch up and then go beyond.
James hits this one in the air, and that's gone for 6. It was Drake's bowling a delivery just on the line of the off stump, and there was Vince swinging it. Went just to the left of a diving Sheldon Cottrell at long on, but it went over his head for 6.
Heart and mouth stuff there, heart and mouth stuff for James Vince. He's got a good piece of it and he's connected with it. But I would imagine there will be a little heart in the mouth just as the ball's going towards Kyron Pollard. And it's just gone over his head. Pressure now on the young, inexperienced bowler from Barbados to come up with an answer to James Vince and Jason Roy.
Here comes Drix in again and bowls, and this delivery is outside land the off stump. He goes for a big cut, misses. A little thought of perhaps of going upstairs, but no, they decided against it, and there's no run. 71 for 1. We asked the question discussing the future of Owen Morgan, and Gareth in Newcastle says if Morgan does step down, I'd replace him with Josh Butler, which is something what you similarly said.
Yeah, I said that the other day, that Josh Butler now is the heir apparent to Owen Morgan in the white ball team.
As he comes in again and bowls to Vince, who's cutting sweetly straight to the field there, and that's going to 1 to Darren Bravo on the backward point boundary. So Vince goes for 24, 72 for 1. Don't forget you can continue to tell us what you think. Send us your tweets at TalkSport2 and we'd love to hear from you.
Be interested to see from the listen to the viewers that what they think of Owen Morgan, and do they believe that Owen Morgan is finished and shouldn't be in this side? What percentage comes back from that?
Here comes Tricks in again now. Balls to Roy, looking for half century. Roy comes across his stumps and looks to scoop this. Doesn't get it cleanly. It goes down to short fine leg. The keeper does the fielding and they get a leg by. Is Roy trying to do a bit too much in your opinion?
Early on I thought he was trying to find his feet and he didn't have any rhythm. I'm sure Jade back in the studio, he can elaborate in the second half, played a lot of cricket with Jason Roy, that he just didn't look as though he was in sync. His movements were any sort of rhythm. Now he's starting to get to that place.
Here he comes in again and bowls, and this delivery is cut away, backward of point, not fielded cleanly there by Hussein, and it's backed up by Darren Bravo for 1. So 74 now for 1 with 1 ball left in over number 9.
I feel Jason's now in a lot better place. His bat's coming down straight. His movements are forward and back, which is not a great deal of movement. He doesn't move his feet that well, forward or back, or that much, sorry, I should say. I just think now he's trying to put a little bit of pressure on the inexperienced bowler by going to the leg side, because short fine leg is inside the circle.
This delivery is swung out to the deep wicket area. That's gone for huge 6 there by Roy to bring up his half century. What a shot. It was just in the line of the off stump by Dominic Drakes. It was a half volley, and Roy didn't even try to hit it in the offside. He actually swung it over mid-wicket for sweet 6. And he now goes to 50 from 34. His third 6. He's got 5 fours to add to that. And it's now 80 for 1 after 9.
Well played, Jason Roy. Fantastic innings so far. 2 halves to that innings. First 12, 16 balls. We're trying to get some rhythm and movement. The last 18 balls or so have been fluent. Jason Roy stepped into that one. I thought he showed his experience there brilliantly. Ball before, he didn't quite get it right, the ramp shot against young Drakes. And this time he's waiting for just that little bit of width. Drakes is possibly thinking Jason Roy's going to ramp him again, look to go past the short fine leg fielder. Jason Roy standing there with a solid base, waiting for anything wide outside off stump to club into the leg side, and he hit it comfortably for 6.
So Karen Pollard's going to bring himself onto the attack now. He's bowled pretty well for this series, and here he comes in to bowl his first ball, and this time Vince is driving the ball to cover. Chance for run out here at the non-striker's end. He misses Brandon King as the ball went to cover, and there is just 1 run. So we had Shepherd bowling 1 from this end for 13. We had Hussein bowling 1 for 8, and now I think the captain is saying, look, you guys haven't done the job. Let me show you how you take a wicket. I've taken 41 in 97 matches, and with the best of 4 for 25, here's how you do it.
He's bowled very well so far in this series, Barry. Captain's led by example with the ball. He bowled a lot from the media centre end. That's why I couldn't understand Akeem Hussain bowling from the Malcolm Marshall end. The Joel Garner end, where Akeem Hussain bowled beautifully. I think in game 2 on this very surface. Not sure why they changed round.
Here he comes again and bowls, and this delivery is on-driven to the mid-wicket area, and there is no run. Out to the mid-wicket side with Akil Hussain, run to his left, and well fielded. So 81 for 1. If they continue on this current trajectory, 174. Roy's 50 in 35 balls, 5 fours, 3 sixes. Vince is given good support. Partnership worth 73 as he comes in again now. And bowls to Roy, and Roy's tailing away and cutting it ferociously, but straight to the fielder. Back at school, we will call that a maiden shot. It's a good shot that you can't get around because you hit it straight to the fielder.
How many times have you seen that in cricket, that you do play a good shot of a good ball and you don't get rewarded, but then you also try and heave one to the leg side, getting outside edge, and it goes between short third man and the wicketkeeper for 4. So swings and roundabouts for batsmen. It is a batsman's game, remember.
Pollard again bowls to Roy, and Roy's looking to turn the ball into the onside. They're going to get 1. I'm not quite sure if that came off the pad or was the bat. It's actually the pad, so it's a leg by, but nevertheless it's 1 to take the total now to 82 for 1 and over number 10. So the wicket gone. We had Tom Banton, who was caught by Kyle Mears, who's playing today. He's actually opening the batting off the bowling of Jason Holder for 4. strike rate of 100 because he got 4 from 4. I don't take the strike rates too seriously sometimes.
No, there's a contest going on, verbal contest going on here by two characters. Pollard's got a lot to say. So is Jason Roy, going back and forward. That's good. I like that. Very good.
Pollard in now, bowls to Vince, and Vince is pulling straight to the field of the backward square leg boundary. Just 1 run. They're 2 experienced gentlemen in the T20 game, and they're 2. I don't want to say legends of the game per se, because they're still per se playing, but they're highly sought after in the IPL franchises, and that's coming up pretty soon.
Yeah, the superstars of their sides, whether it's franchise or international. I think Pollard's just egging Roy on and asking him to have a go at him.
Pollard in again and bowls, and this time Roy is just playing it down to the long off area for 1. I'm seeing some clouds hovering. I'm actually seeing some rain in the distance. I hope that rain stays away. We've had 10 overs gone, a halfway stage. England being asked to bat by the West Indies. They're 84 for 1. They're being led by Jason Roy, who has got 51 from 38, 5 fours and 3 sixes, and with him is James Finch, who's got 27 from 18, 2 sixes and 1 4. Partnership worth 76 after I said Banton was caught by Mears off of hold up. The players are having a drink. Time to perhaps look at some tweets that we've been getting at TalkSport 2. We spoke about Owen Morgan. We spoke about who we think the white ball captain could be. Perhaps a little time to talk about the look of this England team going forward. We don't have Johnny Bairstow. We don't have Ben Stokes. We don't have Joss Butler. Who else do you think is missing terribly to make the England team a real number 1 first choice side?
Well, for me, there's 2 bowlers in world T20 cricket from a seam bowling department. I think a class apart, and one of them's Jasprit Bumrah, and the other one is Jofra Archer. So I think Jofra in this white ball team or the T20 team would be a huge asset. I think Mark Wood, his Pearce in the shorter format is something that gives England a fantastic option. Chris Woakes, who's had a little struggle in the red ball game, but he's a sought after bowler in T20 cricket in the IPL, and in this very well respected and a valuable member of this 2020 side. So I think Chris Woakes is another one who would have been here, and if England were going to be at full strength. So there's 6 that I think would have been very, very good additions to the group that's here. You add them 6, you stick Owen Morgan with it, Jason Roy, top of the order, the spin twins of Moen and Adel Rashid, and then you're looking at one from the rest. And when you see them names, there's some fantastic cricketers there, and I think England. That's why it excites me. This excited me. This T20 squad that's been picked, sides that have played, because it's given a chance to see. Let's have a look and see what these guys are like under pressure. England batting first, going to put the bowlers under pressure in the second half of the game. Probably the most experienced bowlers that they've got in Tamil Mills and Chris Jordan. We mentioned a little bit earlier, Jordan lost his mojo a little bit at the end. It happened. And I'm sure Jade Dernbach inside in the studio will know what it feels like to have a start of a career where things go well for you, people maybe line you up and work you out, and then you have to go again. And Jade did that brilliantly for England, and I think Chris Jordan has done that a couple of times for England in his career as well. So I think there is that Chris Jordan will want to improve and get better on, because all these guys, all they want to do is improve. I listen to Jimmy Anderson and Stuart Broad talk, 1,000 wickets between them, and all they talk about is improving and getting better and getting better. And I think that's the watchword for this side, and I think Owen Morgan does that brilliantly, leading this white ball unit.
Yeah, well said. Well, it's going to be Shepherd now. He's going to take up the attack from the Joel Garner end. If you know Kensington well, that's the 3 W's then you can say. As Shepherd bowls, and this delivery extremely wide outside the line. The all-stump called wide now by umpire Patrick Gustard. I want to remind you that you can hear our dedicated cricket show, The Cricket Collective, every Tuesday evening on TalkSport 2. Join Neil Manthorpe, hello Manners, and Steve Harbison as they review the week's biggest stories, with the show available on podcasts on the Falling On feed. TalkSport 2 on Twitter. Join us with the chat. Tell us what you think. Here comes Shepherd now and bowls to Roy, and Roy gets an extremely wide delivery again. That's 2 wides. Really 2 wide deliveries from Shepherd. What is he trying to do?
Well, he's trying to bowl away from the short boundary with the wind towards the Greenwich and Haynes stand, and he's trying to bowl from right arm round the wicket into the wide area, so Jason Roy can't get any power of fetching it over towards the leg side. The problem is he's getting it horribly wrong, and if he just overcompensates.
Here he comes in again and bowls, and this time Roy is carving it out to the cover boundary. Just 1. Robin Powell is down there, man in that area, and just a single. So 87 now for 1 after that first illegal delivery of the over. Vince has got 27. He'll take the strike.
Yeah, but he's got to get his line and his length right to do that. If he just gets his length wrong, Jason Roy will get his hands free and he'll be able to hit it, from wide mid-wicket through to extra cover.
Shepherd bowls, and this one is cut down to the backward point boundary for 4. A good try there to stop the ball from Darren Bravo at backward point, but it was carved, and he kind of played it in a manner that he played it down, and it was hard to stop. 4 runs there to Vince. It goes to 31 now. It's 91 for 1.
I don't think this is a good plan at all to James Vince. James Vince more of a correct player, looking to use the pace of the ball. He's a touch player. And I think because the line and the length that Shepherd's bowling, I think you're bowling into James Vince's strength. He wants to hit the ball on the offside.
Here comes Shepherd now, bowls to Vince again. Another delivery that's wide of the all-stop. Should have left that alone. He got a wide. Struck it straight to cover, and it's got no run.
Well, that's the ball that's got James Vince out 3 times in this series so far. He's hit a wide long hop straight to extra cover. The thing I don't like about this, especially in the 10th over, is the dismissal options is not really there. You're wanting, then you're setting fields to bad balls, and the batsman is then having to chip one up in the air to get out.
Here comes Shepherd now and bowls to Vince, and Vince goes to a big drive, a elaborate drive outside the line of the all-star. Missed, taken there by the keeper, and there's no run.
Again, wide. He's only on middle, Jason Roy. Do you know if you might have heard that? You might have heard that, listeners at home. That was Jason Roy, if you did hear it. He's asking the umpire, why is that no wide? He's saying he's on middle, batting on middle, because again, that for me, that was it was in the area where it was close to being a wide. Dangerous from the bowler.
Here he comes again now and bowls to Vince, and Vince is getting another delivery, a wide of the all-stump, taken there by the keeper. That one wasn't called a wide, also too, because he moved quite quickly to it.
Yeah, he moved too early, so he's gone early, and the minute you go too early, then that blue line just moves that little bit further across, so that's not a wide because James Vince went early. I think the ball before was. It's a dangerous tactic, this, for the West Indies.
Here he comes again and bowls to Vince, and Vince is driving in the air out to backward point. Just 1. No, they're going to come back for the second. This could be close. Throw coming in there to the keeper, who was perhaps not getting the best of throws as he collected. He almost threw the stumps down on the non-striker's end, but in the end he just held it. 2 overs ago, we saw England 81 for 1. They've only scored 10 and 2 because they're now 93 for 1. They scored 12 and 2, correction. And it's just been a bit of a slow going, if you ask me, in the last couple of overs. They haven't really gone helter-skelter at all.
The West Indies are, their bowling is that we bowl to death. I'm not convinced that's the right thing to do at this minute in time. You still have to. The best way of stopping a team from scoring is by taking wickets. Don't think from the Joel Garner end, the way Shepherd's bowling, wickets are in the equation.
Pollard comes in and bowls to Roy. Roy gets the delivery on the line of the onside, in the line of the leg stump, turns it into the onside, and there's no run there. Good bowling there from Kieran Pollard. Continues to chirp along, trying to get him to hit him, but Roy's not falling for it.
Now there's a little contest going here by two players who have played a lot of 2020 cricket, both trying to psych each other out, both trying to get the upper edge.
Here he comes in again and bowls. This time he's switch hitting, but misses outside the line of the off stump. Pollard is saying to him, you tried to hit me with your right hand, and now you're trying to do it with the left. You still can't do it, mate.
Now he's taking all the pace off this. He's saying to Jason Roy, you're going to have to generate everything here. And that one, I think Jason Roy was in, you say it was the right shot. He's decided to go with the reverse sweep, reverse pickup. Just think the ball bounced on him a touch.
Pollard in again now, bowls to Roy. Roy comes down the pitch and he's driving this one into the hands of the keeper. Big edge. He came down the pitch there to Pollard, trying to swing him over long on. A huge edge taken by the keeper. Celebration then for the West Indies, and Pollard gets his man. I would love to be a fly on Jason Roy's back because they're having some chirping as they go off.
Yeah, interesting there. Kieran Pollard bowled a ball around about a good length. Jason Roy's decided to come out of his crease to hit. Like I said before, put pace on the ball. He's managed to nick it. Comfortable catch for Nicholas Pooran. Kieran Pollard run straight towards the edge of the 30-yard circle. He ended up between backward point and short third man. As it just so happens, between backward point and short third man is the way off for the England batsman. Made sure that the West Indies huddle was there, and very vocal for Jason Roy, having to walk around the huddle. So a bit of gamesmanship from the West Indian captain from the last 2 overs, bowling at Jason Roy. And when he got his man, he made sure that Jason Roy had to walk round the huddle. I think there was a few choice words said by both parties as Jason Roy walked off. Pollard wins, Roy goes, England captain to the crease.
So it's going to be Pollard. Comes in and bowls his first ball, and this one is short and pulled away there by the England captain. They'll just get one.
Oh, Kieran Pollard, you've just moved your fielder from inside the circle back onto the line. He wasn't sure what he was going to do. Didn't know to have him up or have him back. Bowls a short ball to Moeen Ali, and if he was inside the circle, I think it's Brandon King would have took a catch comfortably. As it happens, bounced twice into the opening batsman's hands. England captain's off and running.
So Vince now on 33 as Pollard comes in and bowls to Vince, and Vince gets a short ball that he's cutting well, but there's a fielder there, Dominic Drakes on the backward point boundary. Just 1 run, and the total goes to 95 for 2 and over. Number 12 projected score 161. Would that be good enough in your opinion?
I think England will want a few more. I think England will be wanting 10 and over gets them 177, 12 and over gets them 193. Somebody's going to have to play an absolute blinder to get to 193, but I think England will be looking for around about 180, which will be in the game score, in par score.
This delivery is turned into the onside again there by the England captain Ali for 1, and that's all they'll be. 12 overs gone, 96 for 2. A look at some tweets coming in. Excellent start from Martin, saying he's happy with how the start has gone, but I'm just waiting for the collapse to begin. Prove me wrong, England. Talk about being cynical.
Yeah, I think England have gone all right, to be honest, Martin. You're right, they have got a good start. Think positively, always think positively. We've got Moeen Ali coming in, we've got Liam Livingstone, Sam Billings, Phil Salt, all 2020 experts. Even a bit of Chris Jordan. What's Chris Jordan had so far? He's had a 28 and a 27 in the 2 games he's played in. So England have got runs in their middle order. Can they get them quick enough? That will be the question from this team in assessing what a good score is. I think anything above 180, I think is a good score on this surface.
So Hussein is going to come now and he's going to deliver from the Joe Garner end with his left arm spin, and he comes in and bowls to Ali, and Ali gets a delivery that's short and turned at the outside. They'll get 1 and a better throw. They might have gotten perhaps a bit jittery because he could have been run out. Daniel says, love the coverage, guys. By the way, there's no way that Morgan should retire. He's one of the best England captains ever, and you would always want him on your side. I think comments echoed by you, Harmy.
Yeah, I'm with you, Daniel. Good on you, man. I'm with you, definitely. I think Owen Morgan has still got a lot to give, even with the bat, but more importantly with his leadership and his captaincy. I still think there's still a little life in the old dog yet.
Hussein over the wicket now to bowl to Vince, and Vince gets it over that short, and he's cutting it straight to cover, no run. Lily says the England team should still have Jofra Archer, Chris Wilkes, Owen Morgan, and I would also give Harry Brook another go. Brook is a good young player and has had a few good seasons with Yorkshire. Continue to have your select talks for two, as Hussein comes in again and bowls to Vince, correction. And Vince is carving this one straight in the hands of Kyron Pollard at that short third man. He's gone for the cut shot yet again. It has proved to be his demise. England, perhaps like Morton is saying, is just waiting for the collapse. Is this it? They're now 97 for 3.
Yeah, disappointing there from James Vince. It's wide. It would have missed the blue line outside, short and wide from Akeal Hussain. He got away with the ball before. James Vince hit the ball along the ground to extra cover. This time, just tried to hit it far too hard. Lost his shape. Got a thick top edge. Ball bounced. Top edge. Short third man takes the catch. Myers takes the catch. And disappointing for James Vince. Batted nicely for 34, but again, he's got to start. He's got to kick on. Get in and you get going in the top order, you have to kick on. England's probably most two destructive batsmen of the middle order are now at the crease. Liam Livingston comes in, but I agree, Lily, go back to what you said before. Jofra Archer would be in this side, he'd be in any side. Unfortunately for England at this minute in time, because of the Ashes, some of their better players are sitting at home in England having for me, a well-earned rest.
So it's going to be Liam Livingston who's going to come on. And he's just marking of course, taking his guard. Akeal Hussain getting the breakthrough. He's got 1 for 9. He's done pretty well so far as coming back into the West Indies setup, to the West Indies team. Roy caught for Randall Pollard for his 52. This time his delivery is short and played into the offside, forward of the square position. 98 for 3, he's off the mark. So Bantam's caught Mirsball Holder for 4. Vince caught Mirsball Hussain 34. Ali's got 3, and Livingston straight away off the mark has 1. And we're over number 13, 98 for 3.
Yeah, it's interesting passage of play here now. 2 new batsmen at the crease, 2 relatively experienced in 2020 terms.
Here comes Hussain now, bowls to Ali, and Ali gets a delivery that's down the leg side, called wide. We haven't been talking about Moeen Ali as a captain. Are you liking how he's skippering this team?
Yeah, I like Moeen Ali as a captain. I think you look at the way he captained Worcestershire in 4-day cricket and in the Blast, as well as Birmingham in the 100. I think he brings he wants to
sweep, and he does, and he gets 4 backward of the square. 4 runs there because it was a wayward delivery down the leg side, almost a gift to bring the 100 up for England. They're now 103 for 3, and Ali goes to 7.
A positive captain, he's a positive man, Owen Ali, and a lot of things that he does, and like we've seen there, just picks it up. That's a free hit from Owen Ali. Ball drifting down leg side, no real turn, picks it over. But his captaincy, for me, he wants the game to go forward, he wants to excite, and he wants to try things. He risks a bit, which I quite like.
Short, but this time Ali's on the back foot and just turns it into the onside. Straight there to Brandon King at mid-on to end the over. And at the end of 13 is England 103 for 3. Ali 7, Livingston 1.
We've had a tweet from Dominic McMullen. I must have said that right. He's listening to Talk Sport inside the ground. He said, he sent a picture of Martin Sullivan, part of the ITC tour group, watching the cricket. Nothing unusual that listening to your coverage on the radio. He's completely blind. So he's listening to us. It would be great if we could give him a shout out. So here's the shout out, Martin. Thank you, I'm sure, on behalf of the England cricket team, for your support out here in Barbados. I hope you're enjoying listening to myself and Barry.
As Pollard bowls, and this delivery is on the off stump and just quietly played into the offside at backward point. Yeah, hello to you, and thank you so much for listening. We're happy you chose Talk Sport to make your evening perhaps a little bit refreshing. Let's hope England can make it happier for you. They're 104 for 3, and they need to get at least, I would say, 180 to be happy with a total that they can competitively defend. If that is going to happen or not, a lot will be dependent upon Livingston and Ali. Although what we saw from Phil Salt the other night, I'm quite excited to see him bat for the last 5 overs or anything like that. Here comes Pollard now again and bowls to Ali, and Ali is driving along the carpet straight to the field at mid-off, just one. I was taking a walk with John Jackson around today, and in my commentaries I said you can almost fall asleep on the grass here, and when he walked out there he said, Barry, you're right, you like this outfield.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It is. It's a beautiful outfield. Brings back some great memories just playing in Barbados. The old stadium, the old stands.
Delivery that's short, just pushed into the offside, kept quiet again. It's the single though. We were talking about chirping and sledging earlier. Were you a bit of a sledger, Harmy? Did you get into any verbal battles?
No, I didn't get into any battles. Largely down to nobody really understands a word I say 30 miles south of Darlington. So I didn't really see the point of sledging somebody because they just looked at me quizzically and going, what did you just say? So no, I wasn't a great sledger. How many people sledge me when you bowl 90 mile an hour?
Delivery that's short aside of the off stump, a signal a wide there by the umpire. So another sundry there to take the England side to 107 for 3.
Yeah, not many got into many battles from a sledging point of view. Bowlers tended not to sledge you when you bowled at decent pace. The only person that really got into that was Graham Smith. Graham Smith would try and get into a contest and want to fight you. If you started to get on top of him, he'd come at you verbally. Interesting character.
Here he comes in again in bowls. This delivery again is short, but this time it's well inside the border and just taken there by the keeper, no run.
Yeah, he was a top man, Graham Smith, head of cricket South Africa. And if you did start to get on top of Graham Smith, he would pick a fight with you.
What are some of the things he would say?
That
you can tell us on TalkSport.
Not much, to be honest.
Here comes Pollard and bowls to Ali, and Ali this time is getting the bat onto the ball, but he gets it again to the fielder at backward point, and there's just going to be one. So a single to take the total quietly again to 108 for 3. They've slowed down a lot, England. They were going at a run rate of just about 7. They've now dropped that run rate to almost 4.5, and they've just, say, have lost it, but they're certainly being kept quiet by the West Indies team, who is bowling well.
Bowl very well, have the West Indies. They bowl very, very well. Pollard especially. Not so much Akil Hussain, but Pollard has bowled beautifully for his side.
It's the last delivery of the 14th over now, and this one he comes down the pitch is Livingston and turns the ball back with a square for another single, almost like a test match. 14 overs gone. It's 109 then for 3, with Ali on 9 and Livingston before. To talk a bit more about the sledging, and I'm loving it, is Steve Harmison.
Well, Kieran Pollard, you talked about the sledging. Kieran Pollard is now trying to pick a fight with Liam Livingston. So not only is Kieran Pollard bowling nicely, 1 for 12 off his 3, not being hit for any boundaries yet. I think he's basically egging on the England's more destructive batsman, i.e. Roy, and now Livingston, into taking more of a risk. Liam Livingston only just come in. He's only faced 4 balls, 4 singles that he's got so far. Just egging him on into getting into a little bit of a contest and into a little bit of a battle. So it'll be interesting to see how Akil Hussain here holds this over before I would imagine Pollard will finish his spell with 4 overs from the other end.
So it's Hussain now and bowls to Livingston. Livingston gets a short ball, looks to cut, misses, taken by the keeper, no run.
A turn. That was turn. Liam Livingston's asking for a wide there. The ball's just sat up, bounced in, it's turned, it's ragged beautifully there from Hussain. This is why I don't understand why he didn't bowl from a Joel Garner end in the first place.
Here he comes in again now, bowls to Livingston, who's reverse sweeping and is missing still. So he can't hit it with the right, and now he's trying to do it with the left and is still missing.
3 fielders inside the circle, one at point, just backward of the line, one at sort of backward point, and one at short third man, all inside the circle for the ball turning away towards the fielders for Liam Livingston.
with no third man, so he's trying to get it past there. Short, and this time he punches it out to the cover boundary. Rafael Paulo's there for another single. Where will England get a boundary from, Steve Harmison?
Somebody's going to have to come out of the crease and take a risk. I'd imagine it will be Owen Ali. Owen Ali is going to, if he does come out of his crease and attack that leg side boundary, it's against the wind to the longest part of the boundary, so you'd think the risk taker against Hussein from the Joe Garner end would be Liam Livingstone, but I'd imagine Owen Ali will fancy his chances.
This time he bowls to Ali, and Ali's hitting the ball to a short fine leg. And I feel that there's a captain, Kieran Pollard, just another single, so England are operating in singles now. Last boundary has been some 4 overs ago. And it's now a Nelson, 1-1-1 for 3.
But I also think England players are just trying to get themselves in a position to go again.
Hussein in now to Livingston, who's again looking to reverse sweep. They're going to get another single. The ball goes down to a short third man, and did that come off the pad? It was actually a bye, so he missed everything there. 112 for 3, and the singles continue to rack up. We've had Cottrell 3 overs for 29, Holder 2 overs for 3, he's bowled economically. Shepherd has bowled 2 overs for 22. Drake's 2 overs for 26. Hussein now in his third, and this one is hit in the air, out to backward square. That's going to go all the way for 6. Finally, something for the Barmy Army to cheer about. 6 runs there to Livingston, reverse sweeping, and he was able to get it high, far, and pretty mightily into the boundary. And that's now a lovely shot to end the over. 118 then for 3 after 15. England team having Livingston on 5 and Ali on 16. There's Andrew McKenna and Jay Durham.
Cheers, Barry. So England going at just under 7.9 runs and over. Two-man who could hit a very long ball. And 30 balls of the innings to go. Jay Durham, what do we think of in terms of targets and setting? 160, 170, what would you be thinking?
I think we're going to need a minimum of about 160, 170 to keep it competitive. The good thing we have at the moment is we've got left-right hand combination. We can take advantage of the short boundary and the prevailing wind, hopefully.
Pollard jumps wide, Livingston clips onto the onside, fielded at short mid-wicket, and there is no run. Kieran Pollard in his final over, 1 for 12 so far.
Doesn't seem the easiest of pitches for guys who've got it. I know Jace went on to get on a 50, but seems starting on this wicket seems to be quite tough. Ball seems to be holding in the surface a little bit of grip. Kieran Pollard, 1 for 12 of his 3, has done a fantastic job.
In he comes once again, short ball. Livingston goes for that to the longer side of the boundary, and he's given it all of it and then some. Goes all the way for 6. England 124 for 3. Livingston into double figures. He's got 11 from 10.
What a great shot that was. Just back of a length, he's come down the track to Kieran Pollard and absolutely melted that. On all of 91 metres to the longer side of the ground as well, which is quite promising. But as we know, Liam Livingstone, once he hits that ball, it stays hit, doesn't it?
It was relatively flat as well, which I suppose actually it probably needed to be, because that's into the breeze as well. So long side, into the breeze, and it's still gone 91 metres.
I'd like to see him target that small side.
It'll be entertaining if he does. Right, they've got to go and get the ball and then sanitise it, because it left the playing area. So Livingston's got 11 from 10. Moeen Ali 16 from 10. 15 overs and 2 balls of the England innings here on TalkSport 2, put into bat by the West Indies in this 4th game of the 5-match series. England are 2-1 down. Pollard has a new ball and he's bowling, whipped by Livingston round the corner. They will take one and come back for a second pretty easily, it has to be said as well. Neither batsman had to get out the dive. Neither batsman were really in top gear there. That's because it's such a big hit out to the boundary, able to come back easily for 2, Jade.
No, that's brilliant batting. That's exactly what you need. Get the boundary off the over, keep running it round, rotating the strike. Getting 2 runs there is perfect. hopefully get us on our way towards that 160, 170 mark, and then maybe press on the last over or two.
Pollard in. Oh, Livingston's taken him into the leg side again. Hasn't got all of it this time though, and will land 10 yards inside the boundary. And Rodman Powell does the fielding. Off the bat, that looked like it was coming down in Cuba. I mean, that was going miles. In reality, he didn't get it quite as well as it first appeared, and Livingston, the penny dropped on him that he was actually going to have to run them there.
It's he's given that the full kitchen sink, unfortunately, bottom of the bat, and has just dropped short and had to get his skates on. The only thing you'd say is maybe save himself, get Mo Ali on strike. He can target the shorter boundary with the left-hander.
Absolutely, that brings Moeen Ali on strike. He goes way outside of off stump and then hits straight back over the bowler's head. Down below the commentary boxes, Jason Holder coming around, stops it going for 4. It will be 2 though, but Moeen Ali jumped really, really wide as if he was going to attack that leg side boundary. Pollard spots him coming, follows it, so Moeen Ali simply said, all right, I'll bop you back over your head then.
Yeah. Bit of cat and mouse here, but it seems we've made the decision probably to press the button and really start attacking the West Indies here with 4 overs and a ball to go. I think they've decided it's time to press on.
129 for 3, final ball of this over. It's not going to be the final ball of this over because okay, it's not been called wide. It was barely on the cut strip, but the umpire, Patrick Gustard, has decided that because Moeen Ali moved early, therefore the wide line moves as well. I mean, I would still argue you've got to get it on the cut strip, Jay Dernbach, but
I'm going to take the side of the bowler here. I'm going to take the side of the bowler only because there's not much in your favour these days when it comes to T20. And as you rightly pointed out there, Mo Ali did start outside the off stump trying to target that shorter side. Kieran Pollard is smartened up and chucked it wide of the off stump. Yes, it was very, very wide, but it's nice to see sometimes that the bowlers get a little something in their favour.
So Pollard finishes with 1 for 23 from his 4 overs. Now Sheldon Cottrell is going to be coming in from the 3W stand end with Liam Livingston, the right-hander, on strike, so it's going to be shaping into the right-hander, who's going to be going theoretically with the wind to the short side. This could be entertaining. Cottrell, Livingston moved across his stumps, actually gets it high on the bat, and it's only a single, and you can hear the grunt from Livingston of disappointment as it's only a single to the total. Jared. Sorry, Jared, we can't quite hear you at the moment. We'll try that again.
First 9 overs, they went for 80 runs, scoring at 8.88. Next 6 overs, 38 runs at 6.3. And the slowdown actually started before Jason Roy went out, which is the more interesting thing. But certainly the wickets didn't help.
Moeen Ali to face Sheldon Cottrell. Down the leg side, there's a little brush, I think, off a thigh pad. Umpires having nothing to do with the half-hearted appeal. Doesn't raise his arms, so that backs up what I was saying, that it brushed the thigh pad, and it remains 130 for 3.
I think that is one big difference from the England side we saw in 2016 and almost every side that they've had since 2015. Because their batting has been so deep, they've just backed themselves to keep going. That's consolidation. That's bringing it back a little bit. I don't think that's the England team we were used to seeing. So it's really interesting if it's just pitch conditions or...
Cottrell, slower ball. Moeen Ali hacks at this one down to long on. Will take a single as Jason Holder fields, 131 for 3.
I mean, everyone's been asking them to play that sort of game. I think it's wrong. I think they should just continue to keep whacking it, and they'll win enough games to win a World Cup eventually. But everyone else wants them to change. It does feel like that's a slightly different style than we've seen from England white ball teams for a while now.
Right, Cottrell to Livingston once again. Livingston's got 15 to his name. He's just having a little look out the corner of his eye at the leg side boundary. Kieran Pollard is quite a long way off the boundary at long on. In goes Cottrell. Swing and a miss from Livingston, and because it's down the leg side, it's called wide. But in fairness, Livingston moved across the offside again, and there maybe we see the double standard on that one, that basically anything down the leg side is always called wide, and the outside the off isn't always.
Yeah, I think that was, quite rightly so, called a wide. But quite interesting there, Cottrell's actually tried to go straight. I think he's actually gone pole hunting there, looking for the wicket. knowing full well that if Livingston is in at the end, we're going to get somewhere close to a decent total here. So took a gamble, didn't quite pay off that time.
And he comes again over the wicket, in towards off stump. Livingston cloths this one really, down to Kyron Pollard at long off, takes a single, 134 for 3.
That's interesting, because you called it that Pollard was about 25 metres off the boundary there. He then moved back to the boundary for the next ball, and he clothed it. I don't think Pollard would have got to it. He might have got close to it. I think they realised that, and I was thinking about this recently, Livingston does seem to miss-hit a lot of balls that just go short of long on. And if he hits one off the middle, it doesn't matter where your long on is.
Cottrell, swing and a miss from Moeen Ali. Now that one hurried through and climbed. Moeen Ali's played underneath that one, and Nicholas Pooran's taken that at nose height. 133 for 3 it remains.
So if Livingston is going for sixes, right, and he's not trying to muscle the ball down the ground, he's probably not going to beat you at mid-on unless he hits, or long on, unless he hits it miles over your head. Right, so someone like Pollard, he can beat you on the ground, and a lot of good drivers can. But maybe the way that Livingston plays, they're thinking he'll either hit a six or he'll miss-hit it, and it gives us a sneaky catching option.
Cottrell to complete the over. Moeen Ali's got underneath this one, lobbed it into the onside, but because all the fielders are outside the circle in front of the leg side, it's Sheldon Cottrell who has to go around and gather it in. It is just a single. So 17 overs gone here on TalkSport 2. 134 for 3. Moeen Ali has 20 from 16. Liam Livingston 16 from 14 balls. Just a reminder, by the way, we're back tomorrow for the final game of this series, on air just before 7:30 for the toss, and that will follow the rugby union action tomorrow. Gallagher Premiership commentary coming your way. Sale Sharks taking on the Leicester Tigers. We'll start the build-up for that one at 2:45. And of course, if you like your oval ball action, you'll probably know that it's the NFL playoffs. And tomorrow evening, over on TalkSport, 11:30, so we'll probably still be on at that time bringing you the cricket, but 11:30, it's the Rams against the 49ers in the conference final, and I'm sure there'll be some reaction to some news this evening. It has been confirmed Tom Brady has retired, aged 44. Arguably one of the greatest sportsmen of all time, any sport. I was going to say discuss, but there's probably no discussion on it. I think we can just go full stop there.
Darren Stevens in the NFL.
Yeah, Darren Stevens has outlasted Tom Brady.
And made more money.
Here we go for over number 18. Jason Holder is bowling. It's wide of off stump, and Moeen Ali carves him up and over backward point. Bravo will go after this. He'll be beaten to it by Cottrell just at third man, and they will come back for 2, and immediately Jason Holder is waving over someone from the leg side saying, get you down to short third man please. 136 for 3.
Yeah, interesting. His tactics here are obviously to go wide of the off stump with the shorter leg side boundary to the left-hander. He's now just dropping his wide third man back and bringing his mid-wicket up, because there's no real need to have 3 men back on the leg side if he's bowling that line. So Moeen Ali, I'm sure, will be looking to slide across his stumps here and try and utilise that leg side boundary.
Holder's in his third over, he's got 1 for 5. Moeen Ali goes across, hoiks it high into the leg side. He hasn't got enough of this one. Oh, he has, you know, he's got the breeze. Wow! The breeze got a hold of that one. He looked like that's landing 20 yards inside the circle and probably being caught. And then the breeze has got hold of it and it lands 4 yards over the boundary. And Moeen Ali, from a yard and a half outside of off stump, puts this one 80 metres over long on for 6. What a shot.
As you said, Andrew, he's got absolutely none of that. Straight up in the air, used the wind. Slightly shorter straight boundary, but it sailed over 79 metres. This is the difficulty when it comes to bowling at the Kensington Oval. Certainly coming towards the back end of the innings, it's when you've got the shorter side and the wind to contend with, somebody's got to do some hard yards.
Holder in, Moeen Ali coming down, hits it back over his head. That's coming into the commentary box area for 6. This is Moeen Ali at his best. Are there any, well, many better strikers of a cricket ball than Moeen Ali in this kind of form? 6-2, 6-6-2 this over, last 3 balls. That one clean as a whistle.
That was a beautiful strike, straight into the comms box, over the batter's head. Moeen Ali is probably on top of Jason Holder here, knows exactly where he's looking to put the ball outside off stump, trying to protect that short side, but in doing so, it's just offering him the length he's looking for here. Might be time for Jason Holder just to change it up a little bit, but Moeen Ali in this form is quite scintillating.
That's woken up a few of the journalists in the press box. Jason Holder then. Fourth ball of the over, around the wicket to Moeen Ali. Tries to hide it outside of off stump. Moeen Ali has hit it over extra cover for 6. 3 sixes in a row from the England captain. And all of a sudden, Moeen Ali's got 40 from 20 balls, striking at a strike rate of 200. And he's got England motoring.
What an elegant shot that was. Often in T20 cricket we can see some quite agricultural cricket shots, but that is one of the best. Beautiful extra cover drive, lofted over the offside. Moeen Ali at his finest there. Jason Holder coming round the wicket, trying to change the angle, but he still keeps missing his length, unfortunately, and it doesn't matter where you bowl, over or round, if you miss your length, it's Moeen Ali in this form, you're going to go the distance.
8.7 and over England are now going out. These two have put on 57 in just 34 balls. And if you were imagining those kind of numbers, you might have thought it'd be Liam Livingstone, but actually he's basically played second fiddle to Moeen Ali. Livingston's got 16 from 14.
It's interesting to note, you know, Jared mentioned earlier about the kind of consolidation period here, and we see now we've put the foot on the gas and looking to explode. We've still got a number of hitters still in the hutch. You just wonder whether we could have pressed that button a tiny bit earlier.
Here we go then, around the wicket, Holder to Moeen Ali. Moeen Ali moves across, flicks it over the leg side. Has he got another one? You bet he's got another one. 4 sixes in a row for Moeen Ali. Moeen goes to 46 from 21 balls. England 160 for 3.
This is outstanding. Doesn't seem to matter where Jason Holder's putting the ball. Moeen Ali seems to be one step ahead of him. Just an elegant flick off the legs, but again showing that short leg side. That was only 73 metres, gone 10 rows back. So a little bit strange that he's looked to go straight when his, you know, the previous plan was to go wide and to try and use the big side. Just wonder whether he's a bit rattled, as you would be, go for 4 sixes. But some great striking from Owen.
Well, especially when you would have imagined the one that's only limped over the line. When he comes off the bat, you're thinking, right, I've got him out. And now all of a sudden, 4 balls later, you're taking your bowling figures home in a wheelbarrow.
This is T20, and this is what makes it such a great spectacle. The problem is, as a bowler, this is horrible, because it doesn't matter what you seem to deliver. Sometimes when somebody has a wood over you down the other end, it gets pretty tough. It's a lonely place, a few screaming people, but the problem is you seem to find the middle of the batter's bat continuously. It's a horrible place to be.
4 sixes and a 2. 24. 26 off the over. Final ball of it come in. Holder stays around the wicket. Moeen Ali hits it hard. It's an outside edge. Flies over third man. Sheldon Cottrell can't get back. And gathering. Oh, there's a mix up in the middle of the pitch. And England still are going to be able to complete the second run. It was one of those that I wondered if Moeen Ali was settling for the single to be on strike for the first ball of the over. And whether he or Livingstone weren't expecting it. There was then a yes-no. They both end up in the middle of the pitch, almost standing still. The throw back in from Cottrell wasn't the best. Pulls the keeper pouring away from the stumps, and England get back home. You're getting your money's worth here on the TalkSport 2 this evening, and I'll tell you that. 18 overs gone, 162 for 3 England.
What an all-action over that was. As you said, a little bit of a mix-up there. I think Moeen Ali maybe just admiring the previous shots he had. Probably a good idea to come back for 2, to have Livingstone being able to attack that short side leg side boundary now in the 19th over. But nevertheless, a great over for England, real momentum shifter, 162 for 3. Could 190 be on the cards? 195?
Well, at the moment, you wouldn't want to put any kind of limit on it, because the way things are going, there's 12 balls to go. Romario Shepherd is going to bowl the penultimate over. He's bowled 2 so far that have gone for 22. He is going to bowl right arm around the wicket again to Livingstone. He's going to try and go across him. He's had a couple of wides already. Shepherd goes wide. Livingstone hits hard, gets a long way underneath this, down towards long off. In fact, it's not even long off, it's only just outside the circle in the end, and King will take the catch about 5 metres outside the 30-metre circle. Livingstone, though, has done his job in a strange kind of way, because although he's got out, the ball was so high the batsmen are able to cross, and it means that Moeen Ali, the very set batsman, can at least be on strike and keep on swinging.
Yeah, certainly when you've got a man in form and he's able to clear the boundary as easily as Moeen has, you want to try and give him as much strike as possible. Probably disappointed there, Liam Livingston. That sort of situation south for him, isn't it? Certainly with that short leg side bounce, but he's gone for 16 off 14 deliveries. But now Moeen Ali back on strike. Can we see some more fireworks towards the back end of this 18th over?
Yeah, 162 for 4. Sam Billings comes out. Interesting. I mean, there'd be a case for Phil Salt, bearing in mind his innings the other day.
I think one of the reasons, though, Sam Billings has got the ability to hit behind the wicket. West Indies seem to have had third man and fine leg up quite often towards the back end of the innings. Having somebody who's a 360 player makes it that much more difficult for a bowler when you're coming in and trying to set your field, knowing that he has a capability of getting down and lapping you, not just hitting you back over your head for 6.
I suppose that's the advantage of the depth of the squad that England have and the different styles of players. They can make those kind of calls, have 2 or 3 batsmen padded up and go with whoever feels right at the time.
Or whoever gets out to the middle first.
Yeah. 3, 2, 1, race. Right, Moeen Ali on strike to Shepherd. Shepherd over the wicket to Moeen Ali. Moeen Ali backs away to the leg side and it's called wide. Moeen Ali ended up in a heap on the floor. Well taken by Pooran down the leg side. That worth mentioning. It is just a wide. 1 to the total, 163 for 4.
He's trying to shut down the offside here. Here's Romario Shepherd. Actually a pretty decent delivery in the end. It's a bit unfortunate to be adjudged wide there, but yeah, looking to cramp Moeen Ali up for room. I think we saw in the last over Moeen freeing his arms was an invitation to go for 6, but he's obviously watched and realised tucking him up might be the best option here.
Moeen Ali waiting for Shepherd, threatens to go to the leg side, doesn't in the end, stays at home, clicks it into the onside, takes 1, they're going to come back for 2. Billings makes it comfortably and Moeen Ali has his 4th 50 in T20 international cricket. He's brought it up off 23 balls and sorry, it's his 4th 50, my apologies. Highest score of 72 in this form of the game. Could beat that if he gets plenty of the strike the way he's been hitting it. But England 165 for 4.
Yeah, real captain's knock when, at the time when he come in, we're just stuttering a little bit, weren't we? But he came in, looked positive from ball 1, and certainly driven the momentum back into the England camp.
Moeen backs away to the leg side, flicks it home to the long side and gets it over Bravo, who has deep backwards square leg. Wasn't the best of efforts at trying to catch it. I think Bravo thought it was going a long way over his head more than it actually was. It was a low full toss, sort of shin high, that Moeen Ali has flicked 70 metres. In fairness, actually, having seen a replay, it did clear it by a decent distance. 171 for 4. Moeen Ali goes to 56.
It just goes to show the margins are so tiny here in T20 cricket. The 2 previous balls, exactly same line, but he might have missed it by a couple of inches there, and he's disappeared for 6.
Oh, Moeen Ali has backed away as Shepherd is just about getting into his stride. Unfortunately, someone moved it behind the bowler. Oh no, actually, my apologies, it's his towel. His towel has fallen out of his trousers. Now, Jared's been banging on about this for all series, that when the towel falls out, it's supposed to be... Finish the sentence, Jared.
Well, I thought it was either a no ball or a dead ball, and they haven't been calling them at all. We've seen towels falling on the crease in this series. It's been really random umpiring for me, and I don't understand it. Stephen Finn must be sitting at home being pretty upset.
Shepherd but comes in, bowls, and that is called a wide. Now that was a back of the hand slower ball that Moeen Ali has backed away to leg side. So again, it looks like it's very wide, but if we get a replay of that one, I'm not convinced it was as wide as it appeared to be. They've called it 172 for 4.
Yeah, as you said, they're Moeen Ali backing away. It always makes the delivery look a lot worse and sometimes can fool the umpire into thinking it's travelled across that line.
Shepherd goes in, it's a slower ball bouncer, and Moeen Ali has swung through this one, and that goes through to the keeper for no run. So this over, wicket wide, 2-6, wide, dot ball.
You calling that out, it makes it sound a lot worse. I actually think he's actually bowled a pretty good over here. He's got his tactics pretty well spot on, a bit unlucky with a couple of the wides, and got the wicket. So I think he's actually doing a decent job here, but this is a massive ball to finish out this over.
In he comes, Shepherd. It's down the leg side. He's going to have to bowl that one again. That's another wide. 3rd one of the over. 173 for 4. Still 2 balls of the 19th to go.
And I can see now sat obviously commentating on the game, watching it, you can think people at home will be watching this, shouting at the TV screen, going, why are you bowling down the leg side? But you've got to understand, with a short offside boundary, you've got to try and tuck him up as much as possible, and the margin for error as a bowler is really, really slim.
Shepherd in, it's a full toss. Moeen Ali plays a check drive over extra cover for 6 that lands in the players' pavilion. That is not a full flow of the bat by any manner of means. That is a check drive. The bat has finished, if you imagine a clock face, 8-9 at the very, very highest, and it's gone 85 metres, and the England players are laughing and giggling. That's how, when players react like that, you know you've seen something special. Moeen goes to 62, it's 179 for 4.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow.
Final ball of the Shepherd over. Right arm over, Moeen Ali drives, only finds King on the edge of the circle, and that's poor from the West Indies. England have got through for a single there, which will have Moeen Ali on strike for the start of the last over. I don't think they were quite alert to that one. It's 180 for 4. Moeen Ali 63 from 27 balls. Sam Billings yet to strike, and he'll be probably hoping that it stays that way with the way that Moeen Ali's hitting this.
Hugely frustrating now. I know that from experience as a bowler. You've got to know you need your players in the field to back you up, especially when you've got a man who's striking as well as Moeen Ali is, to keep him off strike leading into the last over with a short leg side boundary, and he's going to be on strike first ball. You need your fielders to back you up. There should never have been a single there, but again, let's just talk about that shot over sort of wideish extra cover. Moeen Ali with such fluently beautiful hands. Missed out, bowler missed his length by, again, a couple of inches, and he's gone the distance.
Jason Holder to bowl the last to Moeen Ali. Comes in, Moeen Ali comes down the pitch, hits to the shorter side and will be caught at long on by Romario Shepherd. England lose the skipper. What an innings though from Moeen Ali. 63 from 28. It's 180 for 5. That is the most sixes that Moeen Ali has hit in a T20 international. 7 sixes, beating the 4 that he hit against South Africa in Durban back in February of 2020. But he's done his job.
Outstanding. That's a game-changing innings in my opinion. That 225 strike rate, that's taken the game somewhat away, shifted all the momentum in the England camp. And T20 is a funny game in that sense. Momentum is a big thing. If we can finish off this last over, get up to 190, 195, I think the boys will be ready to get out there and ready, give it a red hot go to try and level the series up.
You don't get many standing ovations in an away ground, but Moeen Ali's just got one. That's partly to do with the amount of England fans that are actually in the ground. But Moeen Ali walks off to an absolute hero's reception. Right, Phil Salt is the new man. He had that incredible innings the other night, making 50. He's at the non-strikers end. Sam Billings is on strike. It's a short ball bouncer by Jason Holder, hitting into the long side leg side. Sam Billings, they take one. Salt wanted to come back for a second and had got almost a third of the way down, but Billings sends him back. Salt is on strike, therefore 4 balls of the innings to go, 181 for 5.
Yeah, it could be quite tough now. Jason Holder, big tall guy, bowling into the surface with 4 men back on the leg side to the bigger boundary. 2 new batters, but hopefully Phil Salt can carry some of that momentum he had from the other night and bring it forward now and just finish off these last few deliveries with a bang.
There's a certain amount of Glenn Maxwell in Phil Salt, isn't there? In he comes, Holder. It's a full toss. Salt has tried to clip it on the leg side, got a leading edge and will be caught at extra cover. Well, that's T20 cricket for you in a nutshell. You get 50 one night, you come back a couple of nights later and you get a first ball duck. He had to play the shot, he had to go for it. That's just the nature of the beast, and England lose it.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, isn't it? He's just trying to rotate the strike, get some runs on the board with a big leg side boundary. He's just got through the shot a bit early, outside edge, leading outside edge, going to extra cover, and Phil Salt has to depart. It's amazing the ups and downs of T20 cricket, and he's experiencing it now in his first 2 fixtures.
181 for 6 then. Right, Chris Jordan is on his way out. Now he's had a good series with the bat actually, 28 in the first game, 27 with the second. 28 was actually at the high score that he's made against the West Indies in 10 T20 internationals. He will be at the non-striker's end. 3 balls to go. Billings on strike. He's got 1. Jason Holder running away from the commentary box. His bowls a slower ball bouncer that's very high, but is called wide. It's called 1 for the over, and Sam Billings is giggling. I think he feels that was quite loopy.
I think that may have... Oh, wow. Yep, that's a long way over his head. He's actually turned away before the ball's even passed him, thinking that that was quite comfortably a wide. Unfortunately, the umpire did not see it the same way he did.
2 balls to go then. Holder, right arm over, slower ball, Billings backing away, gets this into the leg side, over the leg side, bounces off at the scoreboard, and Sam Billings, well, he might have been disappointed about not getting the wide. He hits the next ball for 6. England 187 for 6 with 1 ball of their innings to go.
Great shot there from Sam Billings, just waited there. Jason Holder dragged his length back, little off-cuts, a slower ball. And Billings has just flat batted him, like you said, 81 metres straight into the scoreboard. Great shot, great boundary this time of the innings again, like you say, just trying to get as much momentum moving into the bowling innings as possible. That's a beautiful shot by Sam Billings.
Here we go then, final ball of the innings. Holder, right arm over, Billings backing away, hits it back over the bowler's head, and he's got a great piece of it as well. Pollard coming around, can't cut it off, and it's away for a boundary, and it's a 6. It's cleared all the way. Everyone was just waiting to see the umpire's signal. It is a 6. So England finish, bang, bang, 193 for 6. Sam Billings hits that one back over the bowler's head. It only cleared the boundary sponge by a couple of feet, but that's all it had to do. And England have really finished with a canter in their innings. 193 for 6. 9.65 and over. Billings finishes 13 from 4 balls. Chris Jordan didn't face. So Jason Roy with 52, Moeen Ali with 63, James Vince with 34, Billings 13 not out, Tom Banton made 4, Liam Livingston 16, Phil Salt sacrificed at the end, 0 from 1 ball. The bowling figures for the West Indies: Sheldon Cottrell 0 for 34 from 4, 3 for 44 from 4 overs for Jason Holder, Romario Shepherd 1 for 40 from 3, Dominic Drakes 0 for 26 from 2, Akil Hussain 1 for 23 from 3, and Kyron Pollard 1 for 23 from 4. Well, Jay Durback, we were talking about 160, 170. England are 20, potentially 30 over the edge there. 193. They've got a real chance with that on the board.
It was an amazing finish to the innings. Sam Billings, like I say, 13 off 4 deliveries with some real momentum, real impetus, but it's hard to look away from Moeen Ali's innings there. Just some of the cleaner striking you're likely to see. When they looked like they were struggling, you know, going to just over a touch over 6 runs and over through that middle period, we really looked like we're going to struggle to get to 160, 170. But as you can see with T20, with a shorter one-side boundary, if you give yourself enough time and have set batters coming in towards the end, any total is possible. So I think England will be very happy with 193, but equally I think they'll know that if they don't get their lengths and lines right, they could get punished.
Well, that is England's highest total, batting first in a T20 international against the West Indies, beating the 191 for 5 they got at Providence back in 2010. So England have got themselves a target on the board for the West Indies. England have to win to keep the series alive. They're 2-1 down coming into this 4th game. Tomorrow night is the final match.
According to the win probability meter I'm looking in front of me, England are a 78.1% chance of winning, which makes sense. A huge explosion at the end. They started quite well. Well, they were scratchy, but they scored quite well at the start. Got bogged down in the middle, and then Moeen Ali played a ridiculous innings to change the complexion of that game. And it was all about the death, which is good because we'd already pre-planned to talk to Jay Dernbach about the death. In fact, me and Jay had pre-planned this so much that we actually did a podcast for my podcast, Red Inker. You can find it in any good podcast platforms, in fact, which is going to be coming up in the next week or so. But let me give you a little bit of a sneak peek at that, because Jason Holder, Sheldon Cottrell and Shepherd are all above average death bowlers. And by that I mean they go at more than the rate. They go around 10 runs and over, and the overall rate's about 9.25. And the person who bowls 9.9 balls per match in the last 4 overs, which is the third highest percentage all time, after Mitch Clayton and Alfonso Thomas, is Jade Dernbach, who's known as the death bowler. And in this particular game, Jade, West Indies went for 64 runs in the last 4 overs, and on average you would expect a team to go for 37. So that's a 27-run bonus, which is absolutely huge. I put it to you that West Indies came into this game without an actual death bowler at all, and they just sort of threw 3 guys there and hoped one of them worked, and it hasn't really worked out at all, has it?
I think what we've seen there is kind of gone halfway there, and what I mean by that is exactly your point. No real death bowler, nobody who's done it often enough. What they had was a good plan, because they had a short boundary to contend with. Their line was right a lot of the time, but unfortunately they're still getting their length wrong. So if you bowl length, it doesn't matter if you get the line right, you're going to get hit. And Moeen proved it there, because once you've set your field, and the fact that he can see that boundary, he knows where the ball's going to go. So if you're not getting the ball under the bat, unfortunately, once it gets up in the air and into the wind here on that ground in Kensington Oval, it's 6 runs.
And we've seen earlier as well, Fabian Allen and Curran Pollard finished one of the games for the West Indies. They're really throwing their all-rounders at the end and hoping they work. And I don't think that's going to work as a tactic. But let's talk about England. West Indies stats might now take them beyond England. But up until the other night, England had the worst run rate in the death. Was it 10.3 runs per over? Very, very high for a team to be, up there. And they're without Jofra Archer. I think that's really, really important. What have you seen, though? Forget the Jofra Archer equation, but what have you seen from the rest of the England death bowlers about why this is not going right for them?
I think when you look at death bowling as a whole, if you try and, sort of idealistically look at what you ideally want, you want a good slow ball, probably 2. You want a good Yorker and probably a bouncer. But you need to be able to execute those on tap and will. The problem is, unfortunately, we haven't executed our Yorkers very well. That's a big ball. To get under the bat, to be confident with it, first and foremost, is a massive part of it. Unfortunately, I think with batters being as good as they are these days, your margin for error is so much smaller. So guys often revert to those other deliveries the minute they don't feel the Yorker's getting in. And I think that's a big problem. Not having that to rely on is always going to be a problem.
So if you look at Tamal Mills and Chris Jordan, these guys both play a lot of franchise cricket around the world. They are paid specifically because of how good they are at the death. Is it almost just a sense of randomness that it isn't working, or do you think there's something to do with confidence, or is it something to do with they're just not, at the moment, being able to do the skills the way that they would like to?
There's no doubt in their skill and ability, because as you've mentioned there, they wouldn't get picked up in these franchise tournaments otherwise. I would suggest in an England shirt, we probably haven't found our best formula. We've had Chris Jordan as a go-to, but we've mixed and matched with him. Jofra Archer's been out the side. So when it comes to that, having a consistent partnership, I think, at the end will be vitally important for England.
I think it's fair to say that going into the next World Cup, England's not even sure if any of their bowlers, let alone the death bowling. So thanks for that, Jade, and we're going to go across to Barry now.
Yeah, where the West Indies batsmen are out and ready. The ground staff still making their way off of the ground with the light roller, and we are set for what promises to be an enthralling evening with the West Indies team to get 194. Kyle Mears, who's doing much better in his Test career than he has in his T20. This is only his third T20 international. Given the chance to open the batting, everyone is quite excited to see what he's going to offer. Brandon King has found some consistency finally. Let's see if that's going to continue. But Topley is known for getting some early wickets. I think we're in for a tremendous contest here at Kensington Oval. Under the lights in a bit of twilight, just about 10 minutes to 6 local time. So we're all set now. Everyone is off the ground who should be off the ground, and who is on the ground is ready to roll. But some strange reason, it looks like the signage there in front of the 3W stand is done, and they're just waiting to get that sorted. Hello to you, Steve Harmison.
Hello, Barry Wilkinson. Yes, good evening, everybody at home. We're in for another classic, another epic part of this T20 series, which has done nothing but been brilliant so far. Hasn't disappointed. Moeen Ali. beautifully at the end there. I thought the West Indies had missed their length. I thought they misread the situation. I thought they had to keep hitting length hard. After 17 overs, they went more fuller in depth, which give Moen a chance to get his hands free. Well, here comes Reece Topley.
Here he comes now, Topley and bowls. His first ball is on target on the land of the off-stump there to Brandon King. Played into the onside and there's no run. So yeah, you're right. Required rate 9.78. 194 from 119 balls.
Score ball pressure for the West Indies. Perfect start for Reece Topley. The big fella hits his length beautifully. Hard into length with a bit of shape coming back. Don't leave there, big man.
Here he comes now, Topley into bowl to King, and King is driving down the ground. What a beautiful shot. That deserved 4 and it got it. It was pitched up and he drove through the mid-off quite easily. Moeen Ali is very wide at the mid-off area. He had no chance and none of the mid-on, 4 runs.
Well, if the first one was great line, great length, then that one was the complete opposite. He's gone full. You can see what he's trying to do. He's got the seam bolt upright, trying to get it to go back in to the left, to the legs of the right-handed batsman, just over-pitched.
Topley now bowls to King, and King is defending this one, but straight to the fielder at mid-on. They'll get a run because Chris Jordan is quite deep, allowing for that single. 5 without loss. Why is he so deep? Because that's going to be a single every time.
I'm just trying to protect the straight boundary, I think. I think it's all he's doing is trying to protect the straight boundary. He's deep because he has got more fielders on that side, where Moeen Ali's a little bit closer because there's less fielders on the legs, the leg side. So he's just trying to cut the angle down.
This time it's going to be Topley bowling now to Kyle Mears, and Mears is driving in the air off the outside edge down to third man. There's a fielder there in Kyle Mills. He's off the mark. 1 to him. Not the most convincing shot. Didn't move his feet at all, but he got a thick outside edge and he was able to get a single.
Swing, a little bit of shape there for Reece Topley. Myers is trying to hit the ball too straight there, as opposed to going with the swing to cross himself. Ball goes in the air towards gully. Again, Reece Topley, the only ones really getting any sort of lateral movement in the air with this white kookaburra ball.
This delivery is on the line of the off stump and played it just in front of him. Just in fact, he feels helps the bowler to the fielding because he picks up the ball. He asks Topley, "Can I pick it up?" Topley said yes. He obliged and he threw it to him. So Brandon King assisting there in the fielding. Good crowd in hand again here at Kensington Oval. They've just definitely enjoyed this 5-match series. Well, still 1 match left tomorrow. Could well be decided tomorrow. Who knows what will happen? Here comes Topley now in again and bowls, and this delivery is wrapping him on the pad down the leg side. There's a stifle appeal. The ball goes into the onside out to the backward point. Jason Roy collects, no run. 1 over gone. West Indies needed 194 for this victory, or 6 for the loss, with King on 5 and Mears on 1.
Similar start to the first innings with Jason Roy and Tom Banton, both trying to work out, sort of going backwards and going forwards, getting the rhythm, working out what the pitch is doing, understand the lateral movement of swing. Get caught on the crease with Jason Roy in the first 10 balls, got caught on the crease quite a bit, with the ball nipping back into his pads. But whereas the West Indies went with Sheldon Cottrell and Jason Holder, doing it for these 4 games now, see if there's any lateral movement and any swing, and they're going to go with a different plan. Talking about matchups, maybe the England captain thinks a matchup to Myers' left hand is something that he is going to exploit.
And it's going to be Moeen Ali. Let's see if the plan is going to work. He's going to be bowling over the wicket with his off spin to left-handed Mears, and Mears is on the front foot and plays down the wrong line. Lucky for him that turn, because he missed it, and it also missed the stumps.
Good start, Moeen Ali. Good start, Moeen Ali. He's just drifted the ball on to around about sort of middle and off stump, and he's got it to turn. Beauty. Just missed the outside of off stump.
Here comes Ali in again and bowls to Mears. A short ball that Mears is pulling well into the gap. That's gone for 6, is it? Yeah, 6 runs. Kyle Mears gets a 6 over mid-wicket.
6 runs, free hit. Owen Ali, possibly the newness of the ball, sticking in the fingers, just dragged it down a little bit. It sits up and asks to be belted to the short side of the boundary.
Ali in again and bowls to Mears, short again. This time it was quicker, flatter. He wasn't able to get the room to swing his arm, but he was good enough to get a single out to the backward square region. So Mears goes to 8-13 without loss.
Good start from Mears. Positive. Gets a bad ball early, puts it away. Huge confidence. Not only coming into this side, but coming into this innings.
We're going to talk about some bowling options for England, perhaps how they're going to rotate it depending on the start they get. Is Ali now bowling to King, and King gets a good delivery on the line of the off stump, spins back into him, he's forced to push it defensively into the offside, no run. What's your favourite cricket ground and why? Send us a tweet to TalkSport2. We want to hear from you, why you love your favourite ground, what's so special about it. I know Steve Harmison's favourite ground must be perhaps Kensington Oval, might be Adelaide, who knows. This delivery short and pulled well out into the mid-wicket area. They get one, that's all they're going to get. Roy's onto it pretty quickly. Very good fielding, but a wayward throw. In the end, they still settle for the single, 14 without loss.
Good work from Jason Roy. He's in on the boundary, knows it's the long side, knows it's into the wind, 10 yards in, off the boundary. Make sure that he doesn't get done for 2.
Here comes Ali now in again and bowls to Mears on this occasion. Mears gets another short delivery, doesn't have any room to swing, just turns it into the onside, and there is just who's that? It's Topley picking up, collected, and there is no run. So 2 overs gone. It's 14 then without loss. King has got 6, Mears has got 8. Topley's bowls just conceded 6 runs for us. Ali 8 in the England side, making 194. They've made a pretty solid start as well with the ball.
Good start with the ball. One drag down from Owen Ali, which he'd be disappointed with, but barring that, England have bowled a tidy first 2 overs of the power play, the second half power play. Topley will be looking to see if he can get some lateral movement with this brand new ball.
Topley now in and bowls to King, and King is driving beautifully, but well fielded, well stopped as well there in the cover. That had 4 written all over it, but there was Phil Salt rubbing it into the wound of King, and there was no run.
Very good, Barry. Wasn't so good shot by Brandon King, who will be disappointed. All he did is just tracked it too hard, lost his shape, clothed it to Phil Salt. Be disappointed he didn't get the boundary there.
Topley in again and bowls. A good delivery on the line of the off stump, driven out to the mid-off area. The captain Ali is there, and they'll just get a single. Topley might have just perhaps impeded on the running between the wicket there, but King was alright. He was never in chance of being run out. 1 run, 15 without loss.
Yeah, favourite grounds. Get your answers in, but also why it's your favourite ground. More often than not, if you ask a cricketer what his favourite ground is, it's largely down to the fact that you've had good days there.
Here comes Topley into Mears now, and Mears is driving, coming off the inner portion of the bat, backward a square. Again, Salt is into action, and just another single.
Ground that we're on right now, Kensington Oval, is a ground I did enjoy playing at. The bounce of the ball. We had a famous win here in 2004, but my favourite cricket ground as Lords has to be for an Englishman. Nothing to do with the cricket, nothing to do with the surface, but the lunches are unbelievable at Lords.
Here comes Topley in and bowls to King, and King is driving out to the mid-wicket area. They get 1, or they're going to come back for the second. No, they don't. Just 1 run again. This is good cricket, good fielding by England. 17 without loss. Where has the best dressing room in the world? Forget grounds, talk dressing rooms. Where's nice?
Lords is nice, the balcony's just not big enough. So the balcony's just not quite big enough at Lords. I'm trying to think. The Australian ones are different because they're massive. They're huge change rooms. Because obviously the rugby change rooms as well.
Here comes Topley in again and bowls to Mears, and Mears is pulling backward a square. That's gone for 4. That's a good shot. It was short. He pulled it into the gap. Salt didn't have a chance in the backward square boundary. So 4 runs there to Kyle Mears. He's into double figures. 13 he has, and the Windies are 21 without loss, needing 194.
Not a bad ball from Rhys Topley. Short ball, well directed. Didn't quite get it high enough. And Mears has managed to get enough on it to get it to the boundary. But Topley be encouraged by that shot.
Topley into Mears again, and Mears gets another short ball. That had some zip on it. 140. That's what it was. It was a quick one. Mears went to pull, missed it, taken by the keeper. That ended the over with some gas. 3 gone, 21 without loss. The West Indies as they chase 194.
That's much better from Rhys Topley. A lot more effort in that effort ball. Flying through. Cramping Mears. He's got a bowl like that. He's got deep square and deep mid-wicket outside the circle in this power play. I think I'd not go with a deep square, deep mid-wicket. I think I'd have a fine leg, especially the way Mears holds his bat and target Kyle Mears' right ear.
Here comes Ali now, balls to King. King gets a short ball, turns back into him, spins back into him, and he's on the back foot and quietly plays it down to the onside, out to the mid-on area for 1. So Brandon King, the youngster from Kingston, Jamaica, plays for the Ghana Amazon Warriors in the Caribbean Premier League. He scored 100 in that league already. Very interesting cricketer. He's had a bit of a different kind of career. Here comes Ali now and bowls to Mears. Mears gets a delivery that'll send it down the Oster. Place it back to the bowler, diving to his right to do the fielding. Kyle Mears, a son of the soil. He's from right here in Bridgetown, Barbados. His father, Shirley Clark, is a former Barbados cricketer. Opened the batting for Barbados. As Ali comes in again and bowls to Mears. And Mears is swinging, not timing it, out to mid-on. Still no run. Topley is there. His father at one stage had the record for the most runs in a calendar year in under-19 cricket for Barbados. He's now a coach. He actually has a part in coaching his son. As Ali bowls to Mears, and Mears is looking to swing, misses. Did that come off the bat as it dropped in front of slip?
I think it did. I think it did. This is great from Bawan Ali. Not only have England decided that the matchup for the big left-hander is taking pace off the ball, he's executed it beautifully here as the standing England captain.
This delivery comes down the pitch and dances beautifully, hits us over long on for huge 6. Oh, well done, Kyle Mears. Using his feet, coming down the pitch. It was tossed, and he certainly did the rest and hit it high, hard, and handsome. 28 without loss. Mears goes to 19.
Yeah, that was a better shot from Mears. He's come down the wicket, got there early enough, give himself some time, and all he had to do was get it just over the fielder on the 30-yard circle, but got enough on it to go 25 rows back. Good hit by the West Indian opening batsman. Owen Ali just slowing it down here a touch, using his experience, just taking a little bit of time.
Here he comes in again now, bowls to Mears, and Mears tails away again, and this time he plays it through cover. That's a lovely shot. He'll get 1. Will he get 4? No, I think he's going to be pulled back just about now, but he should get a couple of runs, and he does. Throw coming in. But Kyle Mears is on the go. A replacement for Shea Hope, and it has proven to be a pretty good one so far, because he's certainly rotated the strike more than Shea Hope, and he now goes to 22. It's 31 without loss. King has 9, and Mears on the go, leading the charge for the West Indies. England were 15 for 1 at this stage. The Indies are 31 without loss.
Yeah, good start to the power play, especially the last couple of overs for the West Indies. Mears looks as though he's just going through the gears nicely. King's having a little bit of a struggle. In England, you know what? With the odd ball, I think England have had not a bad start to the power play. So, all in all, the last 2 overs going to decide decide who's going to have the best of the power play. I thought the power play in the first half was pretty even, 45 for 1. England will be desperate to break this partnership to get the ball rolling.
It's going to be Kyle Mills who's going to come on now and bowl to Mears. Left arm pacer to left-handed batsman. This one is sliced in the air, backward of point, over the point area. That's gone for 4. Good batting, Kyle Mears. using his head, recognizing that the power play is on, still with 2 men out, and he hit that in the gap over backward point. This is another boundary, and this could very well be a good finding option for the West Indies if Kyle Mears continues in this manner.
Width, that's all it is. It's just width. Pearce on the ball in width. Timon Mills is trying to hit the deck. See what he's trying to do. He's looking to be aggressive into back of a length, I think it is. But unfortunately, he's just dragged it too wide, and that's a free hit.
So we got a top tweets as well. Scott says, you can't beat the Aegis Bowl in Hampshire. Nice and easy access from the M27 motorway, and great to take the kids too. You got that right. Here comes Mills now. Bowls here at Kensington Oval, and this one is cut away again. This is going to go all the way over the backward point area for 6 and caught in the stands, but that wouldn't matter. Because in the stands, if you catch it, it's usually a souvenir. On this occasion, it's a 6 and send back.
You catch it in the crowd, you have to get it sanitised, and that twice has been sanitised in the over. Again, too short, too wide. Length, I'm fine with. Line, no. At the pace of Timon Mills, he's asking for trouble. It's a free hit when the ball is that wide, just outside off stump. Batsman using the pace on the ball, 140 kilometres an hour. If you're going to hit the pitch hard at that pace, it's got to be at the body.
Well, he's raced to 32, 3 sixes. Here comes Mills in again and bowls to Mears. And Mears this time is flicking, and that's gone over the fine leg area for 6. What a shot from Kyle Mears. Improvisation. He came across his stumps and held the ball almost like a scoop and a flick, and dancing across his stumps into the sight screen. Bang! 6 more runs. Kyle Mears is rushing now to 38 with 4 sixes.
Pace on the ball. He's used the pace on the ball. This is a straight ball. This is hitting middling off. Timon Mills' reaction tells you that he thinks this is straight. You missed that. Kyle Mears, and you're a goner. But he didn't. He hit the middle of his bat. Sailed over. Short fine leg who's in the 30-yard circle. 6 more to the West Indies.
It reminds me of how the innings of Muin Ali went. Here comes Mills, and Mills again to Mears, and Mears this time is getting a slow delivery. This time he misses it. He was looking to cut it, but it was very well disguised. He played a bit too early, missed it, and it went a couple of bounces to the keeper.
Yeah, that's better. That's better. At the back of the hand, slower ball into the pitch. Batsman has to then readjust. Looking to hit the ball hard, and they readjust, don't quite get the timing or the pace right. So pace off the ball for the first time was successful for Mills.
Here comes Mills in again now to Mears with 2 balls left, and Mears gets a short ball. Mears has to duck on that. That had some pace about it. I think I heard something. What if it hit his helmet? Perhaps not. But he's just sitting in one over the head for the short ball allowance, and that's another dot ball. So Mills is kind of coming back pretty strong here with that short ball that had some pepper. 47 without loss. They're back on even keel with the required and the original rate. King is a spectator at the other end on 9. Mears has got 38. Mears is tapping away as Mills is in again from the Joe Garner end, and bowls to Mears, and Mears is going for a drive, misses, taken by the keeper. So what an indifferent over. 4-6-6 ... 5 gone, 47 without loss, with King on 9, Mears on 38. More now, of course, from Andrew McKenna and Jay Dernbach.
Cheers, Barry. Well, I don't know if there's an over that sums up 2020 cricket more than that over. As Barry said, it started in one fashion and ended in a completely different one. There is the life of a bowler in T20 cricket.
It's a tough gig, it really is. Mills obviously coming back, finishing that over strong with 2 slow balls, but it just goes to show that I think this surface is good enough where you have to change it up. I don't think you can stick with the same plan. Just obviously using the extra pace there, I was going to say. Bit short and wide outside the off stump, he got cut away and then got a little bit straight, and Myers played a lovely flick shot which went all the way, but came back strong with the slow balls at the end. So it might be a case of changing their paces up now, trying to get one step ahead, being a bit smarter. using the dimensions of the ground a bit better.
Well, Chris Jordan is going to bowl the 6th over. In he comes, right arm over, bowling to King, carved him off the back foot, top edge, and it lands a foot inside the boundary, goes away for a 4. That will bring up the West Indian 50. 51 without loss, 5 overs and 1 ball. The England 50, 6 overs and 2 balls for comparison.
Yeah, pretty much neck and neck at this stage. Chris will be disappointed with that start. Short and wide has been punished. We obviously know that boundaries are forthcoming in the power play overs, but if we can just come out of this, maybe grab a little wicket here towards the end, drag some momentum into the middle overs.
Jordan to King. Oh, what a shot from Brandon King. Punched off the back foot through backward point, beats the fielder. Livingston coming around on the boundary sweeper, can't get there, and the over starts 4-4. West Indies 55 without loss. Mayers has been the headline show with 38 from 19. Now Brandon King's clearly saying, hang on a minute boys, my turn now.
That was elegant. He's not having to do anything outside the box, he's just playing proper cricket shots, reacting to what Jordan is serving up to him. But that was a stunning shot off the toes for 4.
Jordan is in again, slower ball. It's dropped into the offside, and the batsmen stay where they are on that occasion. Jason Roy coming in, picking it up, threatening to shy down the stumps if the batsmen had left their crease, but they hadn't. 55 without loss, 194 the target here on TalkSport 2. England 2-1 down, need to win therefore, as it's match number 4 for tomorrow night's decider, the 5th and final game of the series. Jordan on his way past the umpire, full, landing round about the crease line. King gets an inside portion of the bat onto his foot, and it dribbles out on the offside, and there's no run.
Yeah, good change of line there, good change of length from George, keeping the batters guessing. I think that's the key here. When you come across a good surface, it's important to change your pace up, keep the batters guessing with the lengths and lines in which you're bowling here. So it's just going to be a case of trying to get out this power play, no more damage, and then let's get the likes of Rashid onto bowl and let him turn the ball away from the bat, and hopefully gets 3 wickets and England's leading T20 wicket taker.
Jordan in, King stays solidly in behind this one, pushes to mid-on. Moeen Ali will do the fielding, single taken. 56 without loss, 1 ball now left of the opening power play period. You try saying it at 10:15 on a Saturday evening. Then it will be Adil Rashid. He's warming up. He normally comes on as soon as the fielding restrictions get eased a bit, and England will be looking to him. Mayers on strike, 38 from 19. The big lefty, and he's hitting with the breeze towards the short side. If Jordan errs, where's he going to go? Jordan goes in. Oh, Mayers has played a remarkable shot then. He's sort of fallen into the ball, tried to clip it over the leg side, and it lands short of the 30-metre circle, and there's no run. So that is the 6 overs, that is the power play, 56 without loss. Jayden.
Yeah, pretty even power play there, I think, in the sense of they got wickets in hand, haven't lost any wickets, they played some fantastic shots. I think it's going to be an important phase of the game. This is where we just got strangled a little bit, only going a smidge over 6 and over through this little period. So this is going to be a big time now for Adil Rashid. Can he come on, get the breakthrough, try and put the brakes on in one way or another? Generally speaking, T20 cricket, losing wickets often does that. But as we know, the West Indies have an outstanding batting lineup, so it's going to be important to get a few and try and get into that middle order before we get to the back end, as we saw where Moeen Ali took advantage.
Well, if we keep the comparisons going, after the power play 6 overs, England 45 for 1, West Indies 56 without loss. They are a little bit ahead, but here comes Adil Rashid, slip in place. He bowls down the leg side, starts King with a googly. He's flicked it around fine leg, and Livingston can't get around the boundary that far, and it goes away for 4. You heard the groan from Adil Rashid through the stump mic. We know he likes to start with a googly. Might have even been out the front of the hand, that one, but it was 2 straight to start with, down the leg side, and King simply helped it on his way and takes the 4.
Yeah, disappointing start from Adil there. He's brought on to exert some pressure now. He's going to have to get back into this over very quickly.
In he goes, outside of off stump, that's a beauty. Turn and bounce, beats King on the outside edge. You can hear Sam Billings, the wicket-keeper, through the stump mic. Enjoyed that one. Took it. King 22 from 18. In comes Rashid. That one is slightly shorter. King off the back foot. Hits hard. James Vince will field on the edge of the circle at cover. And there is no run.
Yeah, nicely just changing up his pace here. Again, there was a little bit turn to be had there. We saw the previous delivery beating the outside edge. So hopefully we can get him to try and play across the line here to the bigger side.
Rashid in googly. King gets a little bit cramped up, chops it into the offside. Vince can't prevent the single being taken. 61 without loss.
Not sure how much he knew about that. Googly, not sure he's picking him here. It's a lovely delivery there from Adil Rashid. There is enough purchase there. I think that's what we've seen certainly from the first 4 balls here. There is enough to work with. It's just a case of being patient. Hopefully dragging the West Indies into a couple of poor shots.
Mayers to face the final ball of the over. It's a quicker one, hammered into the leg side. 2 men out on the boundary. Well fielded by the the wider of the 2 fielders, but an enormous chunk of divot taken by James Vince out there. I got a bit concerned that we could be in a Simon Jones situation for a moment there, because James Vince tried to slide and didn't really. He stopped dead, and that left shoulder really made contact with the turf. He's okay to carry on, and Rashid will finish with a leg break to Mayers, guides to short third man, and there is no run. 63 without loss here on TalkSport 2. 194 is the target, so it's 131 more runs from 78 deliveries. Just a reminder, of course, you can hear our dedicated cricket show, The Cricket Collective, every Tuesday evening on TalkSport 2. Neil Manthorpe and Steve Harmison review the week's biggest stories on the show, and you can also, if you miss it when it goes out, you can download it as a podcast. Simply go to the following on feed from TalkSport 2.
Macca, I thought we should talk about Kyle Mayers, because he started okay. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but he's doing all right here. Career record, averages 18 with a strike rate of 115. Opening the batting, this is only the 4th time he's done it. He averages 49 with a strike rate of 141. I think for his whole career he would have preferred to have opened the batting, but he was a bowler, as I said, for a long time, so he has developed. But he is not in anyone's mind a good and experienced quality T20 batter.
King takes the first ball from Moeen Ali, sweeps out to Banton as the mid-wicket sweeper, and a single is taken. 64 without loss.
Specifically against spin, he's averaged 17 while striking at less than a run a ball, which is not particularly easy to do. So good on him for having fixed his game enough to be opening for the West Indies, and currently 40 off 22.
And facing Moeen Ali. Ali around the wicket. Mayers comes down, hits him over, long off. No! Jordan takes the catch. A yard in the boundary. It was a flat one, a hard one, and it was all about would it have enough height on it as it got to Chris Jordan at long off, and the answer was no, it didn't.
Yeah, as we're just throwing a few superlatives his way, the way he's come out and struck the ball, certainly to Moeen Ali in that power play, but he's just gone and hit one straight down long off stroke. Great catch by Chris Jordan, and he departs Kyle Mayers 40 from 23 deliveries.
Well, it's another 50 opening partnership. 64 they put on, 7 overs and 2 balls, but Mayers does indeed go for 40 from 23, and King 24 from 21 is the set batsman, as Nicholas Pooran comes out to the middle to take things on. The West Indies therefore replace left-hander with left-hander. He would have come out anyway, but it's just handy for him that he continues, and Moeen Ali has another wicket, 1 for 19 this evening in the series. He went wicketless in the first game, only bowled 1 over. In the second, 3 for 24 from 4, his best figures in T20 international cricket those were, by the way, and 0 for 14 from his 1 over on Wednesday.
And this is such a big period for England over the last couple of years, having Moeen Ali, having Adil Rashid coming on to squeeze oppositions throughout this middle period. I think the West Indies may have spoken about it and said that that was probably an area that they wanted to probably attack us, I would have thought, in the sense of not letting us settle, and Maya certainly did that there from ball one, trying to take Moen over the top, but has fallen victim and caught long off.
So then Poran waits for Moen Ali, left-hander, right arm around for Moen, driven through backward point. Banton comes off the boundary, they come back for a second. That would have been close if Billings had taken that cleanly, but he didn't, and they get back for 2, 66 for 1.
How was that close? That was the easiest 2 I have ever seen. He had to run around that far. I mean, Puran must have just got lost there. He's one of their better runners between wickets. I do not understand how that was in any way. If that was a direct hit, it wasn't that far away from being out.
Moen Ali goes in, turns. Puran pushes back down the pitch. Moen fields on his own bowling. 66 for 1.
Come on, lads. 2 and 3. 2 and 3, boys.
Yeah, that would have been a terrible exit for Puran. He's been in outstanding form of late. I think the crowd want to see him with some fireworks towards the end of the innings.
Moen Ali around the wicket. Puran deep in his crease on this occasion, playing defensively. Billings from behind the stumps fields. No run.
Usually takes his time to get in, and then backs himself to catch up. As we saw with Moen Ali and what he was capable of, Nicholas Puran is certainly capable of those sorts of fireworks.
Moen in, gives it a little bit of air off the back foot. Is Puran pushing to Vince, and there's no run. Over completed. The over sees 3 runs only and a wicket. England will take that. 66 for 1 are the West Indies after 8 overs. Puran 2 from 4. King 24 not out from 21, means the West Indies 66 for 1 need 128 from 72 balls to take the match and therefore the series.
Again, as we've been saying, it seems like as long as you've got 2 set batters coming at the end with a shorter boundary, it's quite easy to capitalise, as we saw the England batters being able to do so. So I think they'll be probably saying to themselves now, if we can squeeze as much as possible, get that run rate climbing early, see if we can put a lot more pressure on the on the incoming West Indian batters. So it makes it a bit more difficult for them at the end.
Rashid to start the new over to King. King coming forward, bat and pad close together, pushes to mid-on and will take a single. He goes to 25. West Indies 68 for 1. Sorry, 67 for 1. Score had already ticked over.
Straight to you, toppers! Straight to you, toppers!
Sam Billings is calling it.
Yeah, be interesting to see whether Puran takes him on here.
Come on, boys! Come
right
on,
arm leg spin to the left-hander.
Is he trying to talk Puran into something, Sam Billings?
I think he might be.
Puran waits. Rashid over the wicket. Tucks him up a bit. Puran whips it around the front pad out to mid-wicket. And they take a single. 68 for 1. Jared.
They talked last game about specifically pulling back against Adil Rashid, didn't they? That was a tactic that they had. I think with Puran, he could almost set up for the reverse sweep almost every ball here, and he doesn't have to take that. I know it's a risk, but it's not slogging across the line.
Rashid in, King backing away, doesn't time it, ends up hitting it back to Rashid and his follow through, no run.
The other option is, if they lose 1 wicket to Rashid and go for 24 runs, there's plenty of other people to attack, especially with the boundaries the way they are. So it'd be interesting to see which direction they go.
Rashid gives a little bit of air underneath the swing of the bat from King, hits to the leg side. Now as he gets back to his feet, Billings has whipped the bails off going for the stumping. It looks like the back foot didn't really move. England are semi-confident. They're going to go to the third umpire to have a look at this and try and confirm it.
Yeah, Billings certainly looks convinced. We're just about to see the front on angle here. Swipe across the line from King, but has his foot just raised above that line. It'd be interesting to see when they show us a replay from side on here, Mako.
I'm going to be honest and say my initial thought is I don't think so. Oh, but this is going to be a lot closer than I thought, because his foot, as the ball goes past the bat, is on the line, and I don't think there's anything behind it. Then he rolls the foot back, Billings whips the bail off, and the foot is behind the line. He is going to be okay. It was one of those that as he was stretched forward, it had pulled the foot onto the line, but as he sort of then completed the shot, his weight started to roll back, and it takes its foot behind the line. And Gregory Brathwaite has pressed the not out button. So it's 68 for 1 it remains. Rashid in again. Googly turns big as well against King. And I'm not sure King's reading this particularly well at all. It's hit him quite low down on the front pad, and he practices some sort of huge swat over mid-wicket. No run. 2 from the over. 1 ball left to come. In Rashid's second. In he goes. Quicker one! And King has got... Well, I think that's the leading edge. Certainly the front portion of the bat there. He's got it down to long off for a single. He will keep the bowling. 69 for 1. Again, 3 runs off the over. That's 2 3-run overs in succession. Rashid has bowled 2 for 10. 69 for 1, the West Indies.
Good little period here for England. They'll certainly be looking to capitalise with another wicket here. Brandon King, 26 of 26, seems to be chewing up a few deliveries, not really picking a deal at the minute. But him and Moeen Ali, that force to be reckoned with, as we know, through those middle overs, creating a lot of pressure here. Just dragging that run rate up ever so slightly. But as we said earlier, this was that period of the game where England struggled a little bit themselves, only going at a tad over 6, but then certainly had enough time to catch up later on.
So the West Indies are currently going at about 7.6. The required rate, 11.3. That's what this little spell is doing. Exactly what Jade has just said. Now, 10th over. So the final over of the first half will be bowled by Moeen Ali, and this will be Moeen bowled out. This is his final one. Coming down the pitch is King to the first ball. Trying to take him down. Doesn't get there and will be caught. Salt takes the catch on the long on boundary. King tried to hit his way out of his funk. He goes for 26 from 27 balls, and the West Indies lose their second, 69 for 2.
Yeah, the pressure just told there. King, as we said before, it was 26 off 26. Moeen Ali bowling into him, the off spinner. It was his opportunity to try and take him down. And luckily for England this time, straight down Phil Salt's throat, down a long arm. But they've got their just rewards for bowling. A good couple of overs here, putting the pressure back on, as we say, dragging that required rate up to close to 12. And we're only 10 overs in, so West Indies did need to get a move on. Plenty of batters still on the hutch though, but King is gone, 26 off 27.
That's going to be the drinks break as well. They were going to take it after 10 overs, but as the wicket has fallen now, Phil Simmons is wandering out to have a chat with Nicholas Pooran. And the England team are in a huddle. 125 runs are needed. 65 balls still to be sent down. Will England be happy with where they are, Jade? Will they be satisfied, or will they thinking, okay, we've got like, if you like, to point A on the journey, now we need to get to B and C?
I think this is what makes it such an enthralling prospect, I think, T20 cricket, because yes, we've certainly, England guys have definitely dragged themselves back into the game, and I'd say they're probably on the front foot at the minute. But as we saw, and as they know, all it takes is a couple of stray overs, and all of a sudden you're behind the 8 ball again. That's how finely balanced this is. It's going to be important, I think, for Adil to finish off his spell strongly, and Moeen Ali, obviously now he's only got 4 or 5 balls left in his spell, and it's been quite wonderful to date. He'll be looking for another wicket. If they can keep squeezing, get that rate up to 14, maybe 15, they'd certainly be happy with that.
See, that's the great thing about what's happened for the last 2 or 3 overs, is that by having the 2 3-run overs, it means that the big over has to be really big, or it has to be 2 big overs, and that puts so much more pressure on. You know, all of a sudden, yes, you can have it sounds stupid, a 12 or a 14, but if you've squeezed that much beforehand, it doesn't bite you as much as it potentially would do.
Absolutely, you're absolutely correct there. And the other thing to bear in mind is you've got some guys who are struggling maybe for a bit of confidence bowling towards the end, and when you see that happen through those middle overs and you can watch that rate on the scoreboard climbing, it starts to fill you with a bit of extra confidence, knowing you've got a few more runs to play with. I'm sure Chris Jordan coming back in to the England side will be happy to see that. Certainly as a death bowler, you're always happy to see when the rate's in and around the 15, 16 mark. You've got a better chance.
Well, Rovman Powell is the new man, but he's at the non-strikers end. It's Moeen Ali to Nicholas Pooran. Plays tip and run. Does Pooran out to Adil Rashid at point and takes a single, 70 for 2. So Rovman Powell has only played 1 game this series so far. That was on Wednesday, when of course he made that 107 from just 53 balls and was quite frankly fabulous to watch.
Unbelievable striking from him the other night. He'll be looking to bring that form back in. They're going to need him on his finest form if the West Indies are going to get over the line here tonight. And Owen Morgan here, 2 for 22 off 3.2 overs. Fantastic spell so far.
Owen Morgan over the wicket to Rovman Powell. Takes the pad, I think, goes past Chris Jordan, who was at a leg slip almost as that ball has gone past, and it'll go away for runs. Is it runs or leg byes? Well, they've given 3 runs, which is interesting. 73 for 2.
I think you have to put that down as a chance then, don't you? If Jordan stood at leg slip there, usually one of the best around. He's just gone the wrong way, unfortunately. It's beat him on his inside and run away almost for 4, but luckily pulled back in before the rope and gone for 3.
Around the wicket goes Owen Morgan again to Pooran. Pooran punching too long on. Single taken. 74 for 2.
What a wicket that would have been. First up to get the man who just come off back of a sensational 100. Chris Jordan, probably when he looks back at that, I think might be a tiny bit disappointed that he's not probably stayed in his position a little bit longer. Easier said than done. Leg slips never easy for anyone.
Owen Morgan has gone in and has bowled it a wide down the leg side. And again, that was, it's almost as if that's now 2 they bowled at Rovman Powell on a similar kind of line. It's almost like they're trying to strangle him down the leg side off of a spinner, which isn't a phrase you use very often.
Maybe they've seen something we missed in the previous game.
Owen Morgan in, bowls straight. Rovman Powell plays a copybook forward defensive shot straight back down the pitch to the bowler, and there's no run, and there's 1 ball left of the 10th over. West Indies 75 for 2. Owen Morgan to finish there, but there's a bit of air on that one. It was outside of off stump. Rovman Powell will just drive it out to Liam Livingstone, the sweeper, and that is 10 overs gone. The West Indies 76 for 2. England at this point were 84 for 1, so there's not a big difference in it. And bearing in mind England still have the Owen Morgan late order onslaught to come, this will be a good game. Current run rate for the West Indies 7.6. They need to be scoring at 11.8 to win it. To take you through the next 5 overs here on TalkSport 2, it's Steve Harmison and Barry Wilkinson.
Yeah, the 2 Ps are at the crease. Pooran and Powell looking for some power. I don't think we're going to get it just yet. Still a long way to go. This game, I think, is even Stevens at this stage. Like you said, Makana. 84 for 1. The England side were after 10. Windies 76 for 2.
Come on, Russia!
Nothing really between the sides, but it's going to be Adil Rashid to continue. And here he comes in and bowls to Powell. And Powell is on driving for a single out to the mid-wicket area for that 1. 77 then for 2. This is a stage of the game where the West Indies have got to decide, are we going to get that required run rate down with the wickets in hand, or are we going to just play it safe so we can get to a position where we can then launch an onslaught? That's the situation that we're facing as Rashid comes in and bowls to Pooran, and Pooran is cutting well. That's going to go down to the boundary, but there's a fielder there, and they'll just get to 1 run. 78 for 2. Here's Steve Harmison.
That's the challenge, Harry. It's the big challenge for the West Indies in chasing, setting the target, a little bit more freedom, see ball, hit ball. Now the scoreboard pressure on an inexperienced batting unit.
So he comes in again and bowls to Powell. Powell is driving this one off the back foot, straight to the fielder, no run.
And I think the experience of Owen Morgan and Adil Rashid showed in the last 4 overs that as soon as the power play was over, they put the tight squeeze on and basically put pressure onto the West Indian batsman.
This delivery is bowling. Powell is bowled. A brilliant delivery there from Adil Rashid. It was pitched up. Powell was caught in his crease. He was looking to just stab the ball into the offside, and he was deceived on that occasion. And the big century maker has been bowled and bamboozled. The West Indies 78 for 3.
Well, he's not picked the googly. Brandon King missed 4 in a row. 4 googlies in a row. Brandon King didn't have a clue about pressure that Kieran brought to his demise. And that one there, Rovman Powell completely done, all ends up. A ball pitching just outside off stump. He's thinking it's the leg spinner, tries to hit it through the offside. And there's a gap between bat and pad. You can get a London bus through sideways. Adil Rashid only did a little bit. And the ball's gone through, hit off stump. And it's just pressure, Barry, it's all it is. It's pressure that Owen Ali and Adil Rashid have built up, and instead of the West Indies just absorbing the pressure, hitting balls into gaps, taking what's on offer, seeing off that passage of play, knowing what they've got, the artillery they've got in the lower middle order. But unfortunately, the pressure has succumbed to one or two, I would say, poor choices in decision making. Find themselves 78 for 3.
Well, the new batsman is Jason Holder, as Rashid comes in and bowls to Holder, and Holder is on the front foot defensively, pushes the ball back down the pitch, and there's no run. I can't understand why the captain has not come out. This is a perfect opportunity for him to come out and lead from the front. Instead, he sent Holder, who's not even scored 30 in his high score in this level of cricket. Still living on potential as a batsman in this game, as this delivery is a big drive. Listen, it was one of those things that looked like if he was out caught at slip. It was taken at slip, but it was just the bounce and the spin. It wasn't an edge. The over ends, 11 gone here on TalkSport 2, 78 for 3, with Pooran at 6 and Jason Holder yet to score.
I'm more surprised that Darren Bravo hasn't come out. Proper batsman. And people all say, well, it's two left-handers. But at this minute in time, Owen Ali and Adil Rashid have bowled at left and right hand combination and put a lot of pressure on. So two left-handed batsmen, two different types of left-handed batsmen, could possibly be could have been the answer to what the West Indies wanted. And a batsman that thinks like the batsman as well in Darren Bravo, hitting proper cricket shots, rotating the strike, rather than players coming in to use power, potentially chewing up a few balls, then giving it away and digging the hole just that little bit deeper for the West Indies to fall into.
Well, they need 116 from 54 balls. Here comes Livingston and bowls to Pooran, who's driving for an easy single out to the offside. And the ball comes flying back in. 79 for 3. But this is where they need to take the game away from England. Because if they let it compound, they let it build, that rate is going to keep climbing. It's not going to come down. It's now at 13 runs required. This is a stage where Holder has got to show his worth. He has not been shown his worth as a batsman recently. Here comes Livingston again. He had a bowls to Holder, who's on the front foot, sees himself in and plays the ball into the offside, and there's no run.
Yeah, there's no question that Jason Holder is talented when it comes to the batting department. Home ground, familiar surroundings.
His delivery is short outside the line of the off stump, spins away. Holder was dancing down the pitch, got back quickly, taken there by the keeper. This is good cricket from England. Good turn there by Liam Livingston, a lot slower, giving it a chance to turn, and the leg spinner, it turned big and bounced. In again in bowls, and this time Holder's defensively playing the ball again into the onside. There's no run. This is good bowling from Liam Livingston. ...
Yeah, good bowling, good pressure. Inside the circle as well, they're in on 1. West Indies have got to get out of this over by any means possible.
This delivery again brings him on the front foot. He pushes it out to cover, goes for a quick single. In the end, they'll get home, but that was not the most convincing of runs. It was almost like they had to get a single to get the pressure off, but this is certainly much more than the West Indies can handle at this stage as they move to 80 for 3, needing 114 from 49.
Yeah, good rotation of strike. Like I said, just get out the over by any which means possible. If you get a bad ball, put it away.
Down the leg side and turn behind square as Pooran will keep the strike as they get 1 run to end the over. 12 gone, 81 for 3 the West Indies. Under pressure, Pooran 8, Holder 1. The West Indies need 113 more from 48 balls. We've certainly seen the better exchanges coming from the England side here on TalkSport 2. They made 193 for 6 earlier. And now the West Indies find themselves losing those wickets, especially at a particular stage where they were looking to consolidate. They've actually lost very cheap fashion, 3 wickets that they didn't want to. Especially Brandon King caught Salt Bo Ali for 26. Cal Mears caught Jordan Bo Ali as well for 40. Paul Bullberry Sheed for 5. Here's none other than Steve Harmison, still to tell me about some other grounds he's like around the world.
Adelaide was beautiful, the old Adelaide ground. A lot of the grounds now have been transformed into the stadiums, bigger stadiums, multi-purpose stadiums where all sports can play in it, especially over in Australia.
So here comes Jordan now and bowls to Puran, and Puran is looking to drive, doesn't time it at all. Jordan feels his own bowling, another dot ball.
Adelaide was always special, but Lords is my home ground, Chester Street. I love Chester Street because it was flat. The Aegeus Bowl, it was flat. The bowlers take off. It wasn't the history of the ground. It hadn't sort of, when you relay wickets, there's a little bit of a ridge starts to develop. Trent Bridge had a ridge. Old Trafford used to have a ridge as a take off into the crease.
Here comes Jordan into Puran, and Puran gets the ball. He's looking to pull, doesn't time it, slices it out to the long off area for 1.
That's better from England, bowling into the pitch. Not being able to time it there from Puran. Bounce at the oval was always nice, but Lords in more ways than one. The history of Lords, I didn't enjoy bowling there. The slope used to do me quite a bit. Just under 2 metres from one corner of the ground to another corner of the ground. So from a bowling point of view, it wasn't always the best. But lunches, wow, you just can't get away from the food. At Lords was just ridiculous. Many times asking Michael Vaughan if I could just have a couple of overs before lunch after my opening spell.
Here he comes in again and bowls. The ball is pulling out to long on for another single. What was on the menu for lunch? Tell me a couple of things.
What wasn't on the menu? It was a Michelin star restaurant. Yeah, nice bowl of soup, thick, lovely, creamy soup. Big prawns, massive big prawns, rack of lamb, and then the finishing was the Louisiana Love Bite, which is like biscuit coated bottom with creme caramel on top with a lovely bit of chocolate. Wow, Barry, I'm hungry just even thinking about it.
Here comes Jordan again and bowls to Puran, and Puran plays a delightful little shot. He's perhaps listening to you, getting his look at his chops, whether those sumptuous meals and dishes that you're talking about.
I used to lick me chops. So I'd bowl an open spell of 6, and then I'd say to Michael Vaughan just before lunch, any chance 2 more, I fancy getting such and such out, which I didn't fancy getting such and such out, but I knew if Michael Vaughan got the bowling figures at the end, at lunch, I would get at least 40 minutes after lunch to digest the Louisiana Love Bite. So, Freddie or Simon Jones used to have to bowl straight after lunch.
But the plans are coming out as Jordan bowls to Holder. Gets a Yorker delivery. Good delivery. Very good bowling here from Christopher Jordan. 3 runs from the over so far. The Windies on a severe pressure, and that run rate is climbing to 15.35.
Yeah, that's better from Jordan. If you're going to bowl length, fantastic into length. England have been the follow-up, the change-ups of the full ball has got to be on the money, nailed, and that was nailed. That's on the white line. That's better from Chris Jordan.
As Jordan comes in again and bowls to Holder, who's got 2 from 8. Driving straight back to the bowler who feels his own bowling. Fantastic over there from Christopher Jordan. The Windies on the pressure. 13 overs gone. They're 84 for 3. They need 110 from 42 with the required run rate of 15.7. Puran has got 10 from 13. Hole has got 2 from 9. The latest score here at Kensington Oval on TalkSport 2.
Rewind 6 days ago. The game was just starting to get away from the West Indies. England's total was 171 then. After 15 overs, the West Indies were all but out of the game. They're not out of the game yet, not by any stretch, even chasing 15 runs and over, just under 16 runs and over. But that there was brilliant from Chris Jordan. Bowling hard into length, hard into pitch, difficult to time, and when you're going to go to the Yorker, nail the Yorker, and that's what he did.
Livingston now bowls to Puran, who's swinging over long on. That's gone for a huge 6. This is what the West Indies needed. Just that little breakthrough that could perhaps give them a little bit of a momentum. It was a full delivery, and Nicholas Puran is not going to leave that out at all, even if he's not in the best of form. That's gone 88 metres into the long on, over the long on boundary. A big 6 that's dropped in the crowd as well. I think they'll enjoy that. as the ball comes back to be sanitised.
West Indies need a big over. 28. Moeen Ali hit off Jason Holder. 6 off the first ball. This needs to be a biggie for the West Indies.
Yeah, here he comes in again now. Livingston is back with it. To bowl to Pooran, and Pooran on this occasion tails away and gets a delivery that's wide of the off stump, signal wide there by the umpire. Another sundry there for the West Indies. There's a short third man, there's a backward point, a sweeper, there's an extra cover, long off, long on, mid-wicket on the boundary, backward square, a short flying leg. As Pooran this time swings that out of the ground, that's gone over the Greenwich and Haynes stand. That won't be coming back. See you later, alligator. 97 for 3. And Nicholas Pooran with a brace of sixes now in the 14th over, just bringing the West Indies back to life. He's got 22 from 15.
Just saved a little bit on sanitizer there, because that's not coming back. That's not coming back in the game. That's gone over the stand. The Greenwich and Haynes stand on the leg side. Short boundary. Yes. Downwind. Yes. That's 6 into the wind on the other side of the long side. This was met in the middle of the Nicholas Pooran bat. I said after Wednesday, I thought Nicholas Pooran had just started timing the ball nicely in that innings. His first 2 innings in the series were a little bit scratchy, but Wednesday was fantastic. From ball 1, timed the ball beautifully. Now he's just starting to go through the gears. He's run well so far between the wickets. But 2 massive hits into the leg side boundary. Liam Livingstone 13 off 2 legitimate balls. A little bit of a worrying sign for the West Indies that the physio has come on to give some treatment to Nicholas Pooran's back, largely because he's nearly put it out trying to hit the ball from Bridgetown to Holtown.
Well, the first 6 was the first boundaries for 42 balls. So that tells you how much pressure the West Indies had. They've been accused quite a bit of soaking up too many dot balls in this format of the game. The West Indies have also just released their T20 squad for their tour of India. I'll give it to you in a minute. There's another 6, perhaps we have some time. But the new ball has come back. Livingston is ready to deliver again to Pooran, who's got 22 now. Here he comes in again and bowls to Pooran, and Pooran is driving flat down to long on, catch taken at long on. An important wicket there for Livingston in England. Pooran getting a bit carried away, a brace of 6s, and then that one was flatter and faster, and he holed out to the long on boundary. A very good catch there was taken by Roy to dismiss Pooran for 22 and set the West Indies back again, 97 for 4.
Pooran's looking for another maximum. Didn't quite time it, just clothed it. Bat turned in his hand. Jason Roy, fantastic catch by Jason Roy. Can't emphasize enough how good this catch is. It might look simple on TV, but Jason Roy is going to judge the flight of the ball, and not only that, he knows he's going to have to go low. He knows he might have to dive, so he's held back, tried to get the ball in hands comfortably solid before the body and the motion hit the deck. Keeping hold of the ball. Fantastic bit of work there by Jason Roy. The bowling by Liam Livingstone just held it back a little bit. And again, just as the West Indies start to get a partnership going, they lose a crucial wicket.
So the captain now comes with the best of 79 in 75 T20s for the West Indies. Here comes as Pooran is out. So we've got the former captain and we've got the current captain. This should be interesting. Can these 2 6-footers pull the West Indies back? 97 needed from 39 balls. 97 for 4 is the actual score. So they have 97 and they need 97 more. But they only have 39 balls in which to do it. And if anyone can, Kieran Pollard can. Here comes Livingston now. Bowls to Pollard, who gets a full toss. That should be a no ball, even though it's a spinner. Let's see what the umpire decides. I don't think he's going to decide anything. It swung to the backward square leg area for just 1. And Pollard is off the mark. He's asking It wasn't out a no ball, and Reefer said no.
Looked a no ball. Must admit, these two umpires, I don't think have had the greatest of night calling this game.
Livingston goals, at this time Holder's driving in the air, dropping short at the sweeper position. 1 run, and you're being kind, because Gustard has missed about 5 wides, and Reefer, I think, has not got his no balls right. He also missed a couple of wides as well. Here comes Livingston again and goes to Pollard. Pollard is coming on the front foot, beaten there. It beats everyone. It beats the keeper, beats the field, that slipping alley, and it's going to go down to the boundary for, I think it's going to be buys. Yes, 4 buys. The Windies will welcome that. So 14 overs gone. The West Indies now 103 for 4. Pollard has got 1, Holder's got 3. They need 91 more from 36 balls, and this is going to be a hell of an effort if the Windies are going to do it.
Yeah, we said that 6 nights ago about what predicament the West Indies were in. A few wickets more down at that time, Liam Livingston. A bit more energy on that ball, a little bit flatter, a little bit quicker. Beat Pollard, all ends up, but unfortunately for England, it beat Billings and Moeen Ali. Wicket keeper and slip. They got 4 buys, but needing 15, just over 15 and over. Tall order for the West Indies.
Here comes Rashid now, bowls to Holder, who's swinging this one over mid wicket. That's gone for a huge 6 into the Gorthy Suez Pavilion. Good hit there from Jason Holder. It was foolish, you would have to admit, but those long levers stretched out, made good contact with the ball, and he swung it for 6.
Yeah, in the slot from Adil Rashid. Don't matter which way you're turning that. That was in the wheelhouse arc of Jason Holder. Short boundary, wind assisted.
Here he comes again and bowls to Holder. This time is playing this one out to the short third man. No run there for him on this occasion. Tamil Mills is there, and he's unable to score. 109 for 4. The pressure continues, however. Required rate is 15. 85 from 34. England continue to be on top. As Rashid comes in again and bowls to Holder, and Holder's hitting this in the air, out to backward square, over backward square, into the second tier of the Greenwich and Hayes stand. 6 more runs from Jason Holder. Another brace of 6s, and if that's a sign of anything to come, we could be in for another exciting finish here at Kensington Oval tonight.
Well, is it a little too late? Is it too little too late for the West Indies? We said that the other night. Ended up 1 run short. They've got to go, and they've got to go a bit earlier, and they have gone a bit earlier. 2 fantastic shots by the former West Indian captain.
Rashid bowls to Holder again, short, wide outside the line. They all step and signal wide. Gushard has got that right. That was definitely a wide. That's what pressure does.
Pressure, that's all it is. Seen Jason Holder, left foot just made a little bit of advance. Abdul Rashid just tried to go away from the West Indian batsman.
This one is played behind square. It's going to go down to the boundary, but there's a fielder there, so Holder will just get 1, and that's all there will be for him. But this over has yielded some 14 runs so far, and they've still got, I think, 2 balls left. So 117 for 4, and the captain's on strike.
Good ball in there at the end from Adil Rashid. He's seen Jason Holder move right across his stumps. Holder one that just dips. Nearly got through. Holder was managed to get enough on it to Liam Livingston in the deep square leg. Big couple of balls here for not only for the England captain, for the West Indies captain as well, against Adil Rashid at the end of his spell. 1 for 26 off 3.4.
Balls to Holder. This time Holder's on the back foot. The captain rather, Pollard on the back foot, and sneaks a single out to the backward point area for 1. 118 for 4. 76 needed from 31. So this is going to be interesting. Kieran Pollard needs to play one of those big innings like he usually does for the Mumbai Indians. But it's hold on strike as Rashid comes in and bowls to Holder. Holder's driving in the air. It's going to land safely out to long on. They'll just get 1 to end the over. He'll keep the strike. The West Indies, after 15, 119 for 4. They need 75 more runs from 30 balls. with the captain on 2 and Jason Holden 17. On TalkSport 2, we continue the coverage now with Andrew McKenna and Jay Durbeck.
Thank you, boys. Strap yourselves in, folks. Could be a bumpy ride, this one. This is going to go down to the wire. So close between these two. After 15 overs, England 118 for 3, West Indies 119 for 4. And yes, England had that incredible Moeen Ali innings, but the West Indies have got some guys who can do something similar. Jay, this is going to be a good one. Where's your money at the moment?
I think you've got to say England are slight favourites here. 75 odd needed with 5 overs to go, especially having Mills got a number of overs up his sleeve, and he's just about to come onto bowl now, and Chris Jordan hopefully to close out the innings.
Tamar Mills' second over, his first, went for 16. He's going to bowl left arm around, and it's hammered into the onside by Jason Holder. Couple of bounces out to James Vince on the mid-wicket sweeper, and 1 run, 120 for 4.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Tamal, I think, is going to go to his back of the hand, slower ball here with the bigger leg side boundary, coming round the wicket, trying to cramp up these two right-hand batters. I think this is going to be an important little test for our death bowlers, as we were speaking about earlier. Looking ahead to that World Cup, Chris Jordan obviously needs a partner, and this is the game, I think, for somebody to stick their hand up.
3 inside the circle on the offside, short fine leg inside the circle on the leg, as Tamar Mills comes in, left arm over, trying to keep it tight to the body of Kyron Pollard. He pulls down to long leg, and they will take a single, 121 for 4. By the way, just an update. I mentioned when I was mentioning that the Rams against the 49ers live on TalkSport tomorrow evening, that Tom Brady had announced his retirement. Apparently not so. Apparently he has... it's got very confusing, but a statement has been released where he's said that he's not told the Tampa Bay Buccaneers that he has definitely retired. So it might still be on the table, but apparently it's not happened yet. But Tamar Mills round the wicket. Oh, that's into the wheelhouse of Jason Holder. Hammered back over the bowler's head. 2 bounces for 4. West Indies need 69 from 27 as they go to 125 for 4.
It's an outstanding cricket shot. Mills has probably just missed his length a tiny bit there. It's ended up being a half volley for the tall frame of Jason Holder, and he's whacked it back over Mills' head for 4. As I was alluding to earlier, this is a very big period here for England. We're going to learn a lot about guys leading forward, like you say, heading towards our World Cup. These are the sorts of games we're going to need to close out with that many runs to play with.
Holder 22 from 17 is on strike. Mills on his way once again, left arm around. Holder's backed away. Oh, it's given us wide. It was outside of off stump. It went through to Sam Billings on the second bounce. All I would say again is he did back away there, didn't he, Jay?
I think that's a harsh shout. Again, as we've said, when the batter backs away, it always makes it look that much worse. Often fools the umpire, and I think he's fallen for it again there, and it could prove costly, because it's the extra balls which end up getting you as a bowler when you're bowling towards the end. Guys looking to hit you out the ground, the last thing you want to be doing is bowling extra deliveries.
Well, here we go. 4th ball of the over once again. That's into the wheelhouse and disappears over the leg side. Long side boundary. Holder goes over cow corner for the maximum 6. He goes to 28. 132 for 4. It's 62 from 26 balls now for the West Indies.
Yeah, momentum going towards West Indies' favour here. Unfortunately, Mills is he's missed his length. He's just got a little bit full there with his back of the hand slower ball. And as you said, straight into the wheelhouse of Jason Holder. Plenty on that over the long leg side boundary, and it carried quite comfortably.
That disappeared. So then, 10 balls from Tamar Mills, well, 10 legitimate balls, cost him 29 so far. Holder's got 28 from 18. Here comes Mills, staying around the wicket. Short ball. Oh, Holder's got it in a tangle. It's taken a leading edge, loops up in the air, and there's nobody there. If there's a mid-wicket inside the circle, that's the easiest catch of all time. But because they're got everyone dropped out, because that's the long side, and the guys inside the circle are on the offside, Tamar Mills has got to go round himself to try and get there. And although it was a 25-metre run or so, couldn't get there in time. And to add insult to injury, it goes for a single. 133 for 4.
Yep, disappointing for the bowler there, but I much prefer that length pace on the ball, cramping Jason Holder up. I think that's a far more difficult delivery to get over the boundary than, unfortunately, some floaty, slower balls he's produced us over.
Final ball of the 16th then. Mills over the wicket, and Kieran Pollard gets an under edge on that through to Sam Billings, and that will do the over. 61 are needed from 24 balls. West Indies 133 for 4. You're listening to the 4th T20 International exclusively live here on TalkSport 2. Jade Dernbach, just to pick up on what Barry Wilkinson and Steve Harmison were talking earlier, as we put out on social media, favourite cricket grounds in the world. If you had to play one more game in your career, which would the ground? What's the ground is going to be on?
I don't think it's going to take too many guesses to understand that's going to be the Kia Oval for me. Some great memories there. I made my one-day international debut there. Spent the best part of 16 years playing cricket there. It would either be that or the MCG, but the Oval just pips it.
Big boundaries.
Big boundaries, square, margins for error.
Death bowler's choice.
Well, Chris Jordan is coming on to bowl the 17th. He's got 2 overs still to bowl. He's got 0 for 12 so far. Starts with a ball that's homing in on off stump. Round about the crease line, Jason Holder hacks it down to Jason Roy at long on for just a single. 60 needed from 23 for the West Indies.
It's going to be a very tight finish here. I just want to pick up on a point here. We obviously spoke about Mills. Had a tough night at the office so far. But this might be an unpopular opinion, and I've spoken to Jared about this. For me, the economy rate when you get to this time of the innings, to me, is unimportant. It doesn't matter what's come before. Mills can turn up and back Jordan up, who's bowling very well at the moment, getting his Yorkers in. Whoever can back him up and finish off the game here, runs for over, make no difference if we can get over the line and get the victory.
Here comes Jordan over the wicket, deep in his creases. Pollard clips it off of his toes. Oh, what a brilliant piece of fielding by Liam Livingstone. Running around at cow corner wide mid-wicket. He's gone around the boundary sponge, batted it back with his open palm. Now, did he do it still on the playing surface? That looks okay to me.
I think his feet were in the air. The most impressive bit about that is he's actually used the advertising boards as a bit of a runoff. Almost Tony Hawk skater-esque. He slid off the top barrier, and I think he saved a couple of runs there. Fantastic bit of work.
I'll tell you what, that's going to pay out for MasterCard all over, because that's going to get shown time after time after time. They've had a check, and 2 runs. 58 needed from 22 for the West Indies. 136 for 4. Pollard on strike, hammers this into the onside. Livingstone, it's a little private duel between the pair of them at the moment. Livingstone fields again, gets the ball back in the air. That one just a single. 137 for 4.
What I'm enjoying from this over so far from Chris Jordan is he's back in his Yorker 100%, even with the short leg side boundary. He's trying to get under the bat, and he's hoping, if you miss, I'm going to hit. I like that strategy from George. Bowl what you're comfortable with when others may have gone wide of the off stump. I just think it takes a lot of dismissals out the equation, but good execution so far from Jordan.
57 from 21 as Jordan goes in. Holder, well, you can hear the groan through the stump, Mike. That's because he's hit it not particularly well. It goes along the floor to Jason Roy at long on, and it's a single only. England just about keeping a lid on this. I mean, it's really interesting from Pollard. In those deliveries from Chris Jordan, Pollard is going for the short side. Doesn't matter where it's pitched. Those are balls actually you could hit through the cover region, through the offside, but Pollard is obsessed because he knows he's got to go for the short side because you get maximum value out of it.
That's the thing, it can often work in your favour sometimes. I know that sounds weird, but small boundaries can work in bowlers' favours sometimes.
Jordan in, wide of off stump. Pollard again hammers it down to long off. Well, I say hammers, Salt Fields. He's hit it with no timing at all because he's trying to hit it so hard. 139 for 4, 55 needed from 19.
Brilliant over today, no boundaries. He's gone 1-2, 1-1-1. Can he close out this over? Massive period in the game so far. This partnership's just slowly starting to build, but they still need 55 from 19. If George can close out this over, get that run rate climbing, I think he's going to do his team a great job here.
Here we go then, final one of the 17th. A long way across his crease goes Holder, takes it as a low full toss. Hits it though all along the surface to Liam Livingston at mid-wicket. Liam Livingston's fan club is clearly in behind him at the moment, because every time he touches the ball he gets a huge cheer. He keeps it to a single. 140 for 4 here on TalkSport 2. 54 more runs needed from 18 balls, and anyone who can play darts knows that's treble 18, so it's 3 a ball at the moment.
Brilliant over there from Chris Jordan, closing it out, no boundaries whatsoever. He's gone 3 overs at none for 19. He just needs someone to go along with him here. Little bowling change coming up here. Reece Topley coming in to the attack. So George will be looking for somebody just to steady the innings with him. You know, an over that goes for less than 10 here, less than 12 even you'll take. Just to make that job a tiny bit easier, because Mills is going to have to come in and bowl another over.
In many ways, this over could be the game. If this is a good over, then it suddenly gets almost unmanageable for the West Indies. Topley is going to come in, bowl, left arm over. Oh, Holder's come down to meet this, hits it to long on, and the two fielders there can't get to it. Jordan and Vince, well, they almost looked at each other towards the end going, are you going to get there, am I going to get there? To me, to you. Ball goes over the boundary. 144 for 4, and it's 50 needed for the West Indies.
Yeah, not the ideal start there for Reece. Unfortunately, just pierced the gap between the two fielders. Got maximum value, gets 4 runs there, Jason Holder. Like we say, this is a massive over in the context of the game. Already 4 off the start. Behind the 8 ball, Reece Topley.
50 from 17. Holder comes to meet Topley. Got that down towards long on, but caught by Jordan! Topley gets the wicket. Holder goes for 36 from 24 balls. 144 for 5 of the West Indies, but more significantly, it's 50 to win from 16 balls.
Brilliant comeback there from Reece. He's probably, if anything, missed his length a little bit, but Jason Holder got the inside half of the bat straight down the neck of arguably the best fielder we have in an England shirt, Chris Jordan. Snaffles that up comfortably. Jason Holder goes for 36 off 24 balls, and England comfortably on top here, I would have thought.
Okay, this is an interesting one. Darren Bravo's coming out, the left-hander, but obviously we've seen some other guys come in and absolutely pummel the ball. Darren Bravo has been, well, shall we say, lightly used in this series so far. First match, didn't get to bat. Second game, made 23 from 20. Third game, didn't bat.
My first season with St Lucia, we went up against Darren Bravo, who we weren't particularly worried about.
First ball that Pollard has to play for. Topley drops it into his feet. Does Pollard. Topley coming through with the footwork, kicks it just wide of the stumps. We've already seen him pull off a brilliant run out this series so far, and that's very close to another one. Single taken, 49 from 15 needed.
In that particular game, I think they needed 85 of the last 5 overs, and Darren Bravo made 94 off 36. It's still the best hitting I've ever seen, and I have seen a lot of very good players, not around the world. It was absolutely incredible, and he just hit everything he wanted for 6. It was remarkable. Now, he does this about once every 5 years.
I was going to say, his strike rate in T20 internationals is 108.4.
It's incredible how poor he's been at T20. I know a lot of guys in Trinidad just think it's a joke, because they all think he's one of the best players in the world. They don't understand it. And on that particular night, I agree with it. That was that night when they needed 85 off 5 overs. That was going to be my first professional win as an analyst. And then Darren Bravo, of all people, did that. I was like, I've got a lot of numbers that suggest this is highly unlikely, everyone. No one wanted to listen to me.
Well, Bravo is on strike to Topley. Left arm over, swing and a miss. Outside of off stump. He was aiming through the covers. Doesn't make any contact on it. And by the way, we've just seen a replay of the run-out attempt. Reece Topley has just missed the stumps with the kick the ball, and Bravo was barely in the frame. It was sort of 3 yards out if it makes contact. 49 though from 14 is the equation.
One thing that I've heard, it makes Bravo a little bit tricky when he does start to actually get going.
Topley in. Bravo gives himself a little bit of space outside the off stump, and it is not called wide. Bravo has a big old grump. but he did move.
One thing that makes him tricky, Bravo, when he does get going is he can basically hit any ball he wants over the offside for 6, which means that it makes you feel uncomfortable as a fielding team because you don't want to have 3 or 4 guys on the offside because then he'll start to drag you to the leg side. So I think, I'm pretty sure England know this as well because they're going really, really wide to keep the ball as far away from him as possible. But it does make him a little bit more dangerous than other players, but he doesn't do it very often.
Final ball of the over from Topley. Goes in. Bravo has taken a lowish full toss from outside of off stump and pulled it around the corner to mid-wicket, and they didn't take the run. Pollard decided to stay put, so it's 145 for 5, which makes 49 from 12 deliveries. And obviously the short boundary comes into the equation, but can you realistically turn any run down at this stage, Jay Dernbach?
I'm not sure you can, but I think that's exactly why they brought the left-hander out. We're talking about Darren Bravo there. I think it can only be because of that short leg side boundary. But as we saw from the previous over of Chris Jordan, he was good enough to get it underneath the bat, of Pollard, and he wasn't good enough to get it to the boundary. So that's a big gamble. Like you say, they should take all the runs they can get, but he really does need to take advantage of that short side this over if West Indies are going to get anywhere near this total.
We're back with you just before 7:30 tomorrow. Once the rugby's been on, Sale Sharks against the Leicester Tigers. That's a 3 o'clock kickoff. Boys, we're with you at 2:45 for that. We're with you at 7:30, and here we go then. Chris Jordan for the 19th. Smeared across the line by Kieran Pollard. Straight to Liam Livingstone out on the cow corner boundary, and Pollard stands his ground. It's now 49 from 11. Pollard is taking this on. There's a few boos. Is that England fans giving him the bird? I think it probably is, rather than West Indian fans complaining.
This is something the West Indians do a lot. I've seen Andre Russell do this. I've seen Kieran Pollard do this before. They believe this is the best way because if anyone's going to hit 7 or 8 sixes, it's going to be him.
Well, it's backing his own talent. In goes Jordan, wide of off stump. It's again carved into the onside. Livingston will field. Well, that now makes no sense because they have taken the single this occasion. So 48 from 10.
Yeah, that's somewhat surprising. I understand the theory, I understand the concept. Unfortunately, when you've got a bloke who's nailing his Yorkers or getting as close to as Jordan is here, I'm not sure it makes too much difference whether a right or left-hander is on strike. Sometimes that can just change up the bowler's perception about things. You know, it's Darren Bravo is not a bad player to come in and play. I think give himself the opportunity, otherwise what's the point of having him on the side? I'm sure there's somebody else who could be capable of coming in and doing a job, but Jordan is doing a fantastic job here towards the end, getting his Yorkers in.
48 from 10. Jordan to go in and bowl. Low and in at the toes of Bravo. All he can do is clip it through mid-wicket. They will walk a single. 147 for 5. 2 singles only from the 3 balls that Chris Jordan has sent down. 3 overs and 3 balls, so 21 balls have cost 21 runs for Chris Jordan, and the West Indies therefore need 47 from 9. There's been a lot of chat between Sam Billings and Chris Jordan. Chris Jordan is now just going to adjust his fields, and Phil Salt is at the straightest long on I've ever seen. He's basically looking over the umpire's shoulder. It means he can actually go either left or right. It's a great fielding position. In goes Jordan to Pollard. It's a back of the hand ball that Pollard has whipped through mid-wicket, and Reece Topley can't get around. It goes for 4.
That's a real shame.
150 is up, 151 for 5, and it will beg the question, why change what wasn't broken? Chris Jordan had just bowled 3 brilliant deliveries and then just seemed to change the modus operandi there. Pollard works him away through square leg for 4.
He was only just a tiny bit off. There's actually a hint of reverse swing happening there for Chris Jordan, maybe just coming off the breeze. Like you say, he's been spot on to date. Just change of field there, and they've just taken him off of his game for a minute.
43 from 8. slung that one wide of off-stump. That will be called wide. 1-5-2 for 5, 42 from 8. Jared.
So that fielder for Karen Pollard, that position's called straight hit. I don't know if you know it is a proper fielding position. I always think it should be called straight on. No one will allow me to use it, especially when I do it on Twitter, where people don't like fun. It's very common for Karen Pollard. Sri Lanka have used it against him. It's been used in the Big Bash and the IPL a few times as well, and it's because that's where he hits the ball, because you usually don't put someone there.
Jordan in, right arm over. Pollard hits this wide, and there's a man there, Jason Roy, at wide long on, who can't take the catch and can't stop it. It goes for 4, 156 for 5, 38 are needed from 7. West Indies are still alive, just.
It's a big delivery, that. Going for 2 boundaries back to back. It makes this last delivery very important from Chris Jordan. Like you say, 38 from 7 balls required. Needs anything but a boundary, this last ball. Take the pressure off either Topley or Mills to come in and finish off that last and get the series back to 2-2.
Pollard's got 17 from 13. Waits. Jordan is now in. Bowls, right arm over. Whoa, that ball takes off from a length. Pollard has swung through it. It goes through to Sam Billings. But that ball has behaved like no other ball this evening. Sam Billings took that head high. It's a great thing from an England point of view, because it is a dot ball. So we're down to the final over. The West Indies need 38 from 6, which, as we all know, isn't possible. So England just have to make sure they don't bowl a no ball or a wide, and we're coming back tomorrow evening for a series decider. 156 for 5 is the score.
That was, I'm not sure how you play that delivery. If there's 2 batters standing there, I'm not sure you get a chance of getting a bat on that. But like you say, the most important thing from an England point of view there is that's a dot ball. Takes them into the last over here. Bit of pressure off Reece Topley in the sense of the equation doesn't quite work out, but as you say, make sure you keep your foot behind the line and the ball below waist height.
Sounds simple, really, doesn't it?
Pressure's a funny thing, though, unfortunately, when it comes to international cricket. Last over, but here we go. We're going to see Reece Topley finish off the innings.
Left arm over the wicket to Bravo. Weight on the back foot, hammers it to Moeen Ali at mid-off, and there is no run. Cheers from the England fans as the equation goes to 38 needed from 5.
Even the fact that the West Indies can't win here, I think from an English point of view, it's important to see how Topley reacts in these latter overs. We've obviously seen Mills struggle today, so somebody needs to stick their hand up, like we said earlier, go along with Jordan for the ride.
Topley in, lowish full toss, hammered to long on by Bravo. Jason Roy fields, they take the single. 37 needed from 4 balls. Brings Pollard back on strike. 17 from 14. It's got the short boundary on the offside, so if he wants to go inside out, try and go over extra cover. I mean, he can do it. Shouldn't make any difference, but from the captain's point of view, just to make the point.
And Topley's had a good evening's work to date. 3.2 overs, 1 for 19. He'll be very happy with those figures, contributing to hopefully an England victory here.
And he comes then to Pollard. Pollard, well, has given up. He has officially given up because he just put the bat there and set off for a single as the ball goes through square leg. Surely you've got to at least try, because you never know that Reece Topley might overstep. You might get a free hit the next ball. I find that odd. I mean, look, it's unlikely. Mathematically, it shouldn't happen. But for the captain of the West Indies to deliberately play a forward defensive shot when every ball has to go for 6, I find unusual.
Doesn't send a particularly good message to the rest of the lads in the dressing room who are working hard for a victory, but as you say, unfortunately, it's not to be for the West Indies this evening.
Bravo facing Topley, and he gets a full toss. Now that surely was over waist height, but they've not called it a no ball. Are you kidding me?
That was extraordinary. But that's your point right there, isn't it? That gets called a no ball and goes for 6. All of a sudden, Reece Topley's under pressure. He has to then come and deliver a Yorker.
Well, then he comes. And that was a slow full toss that ended up about thigh high, possibly back of the hand, possibly a cutter down the side. It went only for a single, so it's 35 now needed from one ball. But that is one that I believe, and I've not seen a replay of it, looked like a no ball, and the follow-up wasn't a million miles off a no ball either. Anyway, it's gone now.
We've seen some interesting decisions this evening, with a few of the wides called and a couple of the no balls, but all in vain, as you say. 35 needed from one delivery.
Here we go then. Final one of the evening. Reece Topley into Kyron Pollard, and Kyron Pollard plays a defensive shot. Is beaten on the outside edge. It goes through to Sam Billings. Kyron Pollard picks up his bat, tucks it under his arm, takes his gloves off, and goes to shake the hands of the England players, because England have won by 34 runs and draw the series level at 2. We have a series decider tomorrow evening. Winner takes all, 2 games apiece in this 5-game series. The West Indies won last Saturday by 9 wickets. England won by a run on Sunday. The West Indies won by 20 runs on Wednesday, and now England have won by 34 runs this Saturday evening. They batted first, put into bat by the West Indies no less, and put 193 for 6 on the board. West Indies in reply weren't able to get there. 159 for 5 from their 20 overs, and England therefore victorious.
Yeah, lovely to get over the line in the end in a big game for the England lads to draw the series level, to take it to a decider tomorrow evening. I thought Chris Jordan was fantastic with the ball tonight, so was Reece Topley, Moeen Ali of course, and it just goes to show, it looked like Moeen Ali was batting on a completely different surface to everybody else. That blistering innings, strike rate of 225, nobody else got close to that this evening. And as we say, Jason Roy, top of the order, getting a 50, getting the team off to a good start. What he's in the side for was just a well completed game of cricket, I think. T20 cricket for England. They'll take a lot of confidence into tomorrow night.
So, there we go then. We're down to 120 deliveries batting, 120 deliveries bowling to seal this T20 series. With the ball this evening, Moeen Ali 2 for 28 from his 4 overs. Reece Topley 1 for 21 from his 4. Adil Rashid 1 for 28 from 4. Liam Livingstone 1 for 18 with his 2 overs. So 159 for 5 at the West Indies. Kyle Mayers top scored with 40. Jason Holder 36. 20s from Brandon King and Nicholas Puran, but they weren't able to stay with the asking rate that England had set them of 9.7 and over to win the game.